Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Good evening and welcome to the Friday night edition of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you very much for joining us as we have a paranormal, cryptid, supernatural show. Krista and Brandi are here from the podcast Blondes and Boos. We're going to get right to it here momentarily. But first, we have to say hello to our contestants in the chat room. We got SJ in the gold medal position, Race Fan in the silver, Tim Mothman and his goatee sharing a bronze medal tonight. Hi, Kitty Caddywhack. Y2K, how you doing? Merry Christmas. Happy New Year to you as well. Robert Lamoth in the studio. Kathy Evans. Michael Morris, attorney at large. How are you, buddy? Frankie B. Road Flare. Little Cam over on YouTube. He bench pressed 600 pounds 58 times to warm up for tonight's show. 58 times. Linda, how are you? Mickey G, welcome to SOR Chat. As we continue on with roll call, Lee the B, Deanna N, Ethanol, Cosmic Joe, how y'all doing? Good to have you all here. Gizmo is here. Gizmo will be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio if you don't mind, to the left of the studio. Hillbilly Herb, little Timmy James. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you awake. Mel WD40 is here lubing us up for tonight's show. Because you always want to go into a show nice and smooth. You don't want any of that rigidness. Rigidness never feels good. So we lube up each and every night courtesy of Mel. So thank you, Mel, for keeping it nice and smooth. Phyllis Boucher Perry, how are you? Pam Harris, J Truth Seeker, 88 miles per hour over on X. How are you doing? Purple Aired Pixie Lara, how are you? Seems like I haven't seen you in the chat room forever. Forever. Good to have you back. Stephanie Kenny Blankenship, nice to see you. John Corner has returned. John Corner will be signing autographs after the show as well. Line up to the right of the studio if you don't mind. To the right of the studio. He only signs in blue Sharpie. Number 16 in your program, starting at right wing from Stockholm, Sweden. Lars Jansson. Cody Eiler, Baywatcher. The hippie Deidre. Did you get any new Birkenstocks for Christmas? Just curious. All right. Ferret, how are you? Deadfish, nice to see you. Richard Minnick, Troy SR71. Good to have you all here. Bigfoot, Michigan Rob, have a drink on us, buddy. Melissa Kronwetter, how you doing? As we continue on with our roll call, there's Deborino from Sacarino. Good to see you. UFOs, not drones. Unfortunately, in New Jersey, it's drones. But that's okay. Richard Minnick, thank you for kicking off the super chat tonight. Very much appreciate the love and support, Richard. Thank you very, very much. Moving on down, we say hello to Flat 6, Super Crazy. Kelly Lewis, welcome to SOR Chat. Attorney to the EBEs, what's happening? Gory Tiger, thanks for coming on in as we continue on with our roll call. Mama Catherine, there she is. Mwah! I hope you're feeling great, Mama Catherine. Each and every day you're getting stronger. We'll see you in Vegas. Yes, we will. Yeah, I'm going to have a present coming for you soon, by the way. I don't know if Charlie told you. But, yeah, soon. All right, scrolling on down as we next say hello to Susan, how are you? And Deborah Rooney from Sackaroonie, thank you for that lovely super chat. Very much appreciate it. Let's get the radio side going. Hello and welcome to the radio and podcast side of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We're going to talk all things paranormal, supernatural, ufological. Krista and Brandi from the podcast Blondes and Boos are here tonight. Rock and Rory, Paul Holland, how are you as we continue on with our roll call on YouTube? Candy, nice to see you. Hi there, Search and Destroy. Good to have you here. Andromedan, thanks for coming on in. And Blue Cruise, good to see you. Necessary Dialogue is here. So is Human Carl, a great veteran of the United States Air Force. We love you, Human Carl. Thank you for your service. Paul Demon, nice to see you. And so far, we are caught up. Reminder, the super chat is open. And of course, you can, hi, Awesome Cat Chaser, you can shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. We do not have ugly swag. Throw those horns up. Let's rock. From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I'm your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out, Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram, Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. We're going to have an awesome show of fun tonight. We got Krista, we got Brandi from the podcast Blondes and Boos. We're going to talk ghosts. We're going to talk paranormal, supernatural, UFOs. I got to catch my breath. And everything in between. Then in hour number 3, Swamp Dweller kicks things off with a spooky story. Cryptid Report right after that. Jackie Harmon, Lee Strauss will be here for a little bit of fun. All right. Let's get right to it, shall we? I think we're in for a good show tonight. I really do. Why? Because we have Krista and we have Brandi. They are hanging out with us after starting their podcast, Blondes and Boos, in 2020 during the COVID lockdown. They added Brandi. First, it was Erin. Then they added Brandi to the mix in 22. They're friends outside of the shows, get together when they can. They're all based out of Missouri. Friends who love to talk about all things strange and weird. Ghosts, demons, Bigfoot, UFOs, aliens, metaphysics, dogman, and other cryptids. Their show has a lot of special guests, much like us do, even though they never invited me. No. Never invited me. Hurts a little bit. I'm not going to lie. You know, I think I have topics to talk about, but apparently they don't because they never invited me on their show. All right, get over it, Dave. Get over it. Here we go. Yep, they attend a lot of paranormal cryptid conferences. They have been speakers at several. They hold public events at haunted locations to raise money for historical preservation. I like that about them, even though they won't bring me on their show. So let's talk to them. Let's bring them on. Krista and Brandi. Welcome to Spaced Out Radio. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. We haven't been on our show yet.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm going to throw the yet in there.
Yes. Good job. We'll get you on there. I promise.
Just let me wipe away the tears. I know when I'm not wanted.
No, nothing like that at all.
I know. I'm teasing here, but thank you so much for coming on, and we really do appreciate it. The one thing that I love about you guys is that you talk about everything. You talk about, you're not blanketing just one area and hammering it down. And we're going to get into that a little bit later on in the show. But first, I want my audience to learn a lot about you. So, Krista, let's start with you. How did you get involved with the paranormal?
So many years ago, I've always had like weird things happen and I just kind of blew it off. But back in early, 2004, 2005, a friend of mine, her house is haunted and I stayed with her for a bit and just weird things happened. And so we ended up calling in a paranormal team and things happened that we couldn't explain. And, that was the first time I ever heard it, EVP and things like that. And anyway, it really got my interest. And here I am many years later, 20 years later.
Well, that's a nice little start for you. I mean,
yeah.
Getting out on night number 1. I mean, that's always a good thing, right?
Right. Exactly. So, it's been quite the roller coaster. And the team that we actually had called in, it was kind of funny that I ended up joining that team. And that was the first paranormal team I was on. And I was on it for over 10 years. So, yeah, long time.
And how about you, Brandi? What's your story?
Well, it started off when I was barely able to remember anything, actually. I started seeing things and talking to things that weren't there. My mother's family is on the paranormal side. They believe in ghosts and all kinds of things, and they never hid that from me. And then when I started to talk to things and they were hearing audible responses and seeing things move, they understood that I kind of could see them too. So growing up in that kind of household, it was just second nature. It was just something that it just was normal for me. Mm-hmm. So I've pretty much been living with it all my life.
Define normal, because for the most people out there who are listening in on radio land or podcast land, they're going to be like, how is that normal, Brandi? How is that normal?
I guess, when you see something out of the corner of your eye move, like maybe a shadow or something, and then you look at it and there's nothing there, you kind of dismiss it. Well, for me, it's always been something is there. Something is watching you. Something is in the room. My family made it very easy for me to understand these things rather than dismiss them. Mm-hmm. Many things have happened during my life with passed away loved ones, and just being in locations where I'd see things and I'd be like, hey, Mom, I just saw this. She goes, well, sometimes those things happen. And mm-hmm. That's the way she would tell me that it's okay. Well, they just happen sometimes. That this is normal. It's okay. Mm-hmm. She just made me feel comfortable in my own skin. So that is my normal.
That's good, because a lot of parents actually try to turn that off mm-hmm. of their children mm-hmm. because they don't understand. They blame it to nightmares or imagination.
Yep. Well, that's
right. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I totally get that. So my grandma, she was very much open to all of this. My mom and my dad were not. So, my grandma, she would talk about different things. And I always thought she was a kook back when I was in school, because this old lady talking about rocks, who cares about rocks, And as I grew older, and after she passed away, my mom had told me that, she had all of my grandma's stones and things like that I could have, and whatever they meant, which I knew exactly what they were, and as I got older, I realized that my grandma was not a kook. And, if anything, it was the opposite, the ones that didn't believe in the family, were the ones that made it difficult. My grandma was very open to it. So, yeah. So I totally get where Brandi's at.
Growing up with that kind of influence, I'm going to say it's not normal for the majority of people, but for you two, it was. How did that help define what you were doing today, Brandi?
Nobody is an expert on anything in any field in the paranormal, the cryptid world, whatever. Nobody is a bona fide expert because we don't have all the answers. So it just made me more inquisitive, more curious, and it makes me want to keep finding out more and more things to see if I can answer some of the questions I've had all my life. Like, is it possible that I could come back? Is it possible that, other things could exist out in this world that, that everybody says there isn't, that it's fake, that it's in my imagination. It always keeps me striving for more things in this world. It really does. It really does.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I think, because we were talking about this earlier that, we don't have New Year's resolutions, but it's just this, mine is kind of like the same goal every year. Keep striving to find more and more and more to see if I can find some truth. And that's always what I wanted to do, is just find out the truth.
Mm-hmm.
See, I think the word truth is very dangerous in our field.
It is.
And I'm not saying that to sound insultive, so please don't take it that way. But so many people throw the word truth out there. I'm here for the truth. I want the truth. What is the truth? Because your truth and your experiences are going to be different than mine, and vice versa. And everybody in the audience. I mean, some people have multiple experiences. Others are hoping for just one. And when they hear stories of multiple experiencers, they immediately think that person is lying for clickbait, for attention, for podcast ratings, or whatever it may be. And then there is the truth of each thing. I mean, the flesh and blooders of Bigfoot believe that's the truth. Whereas there's people who believe it's a supernatural deity, and there's other people out there who think Bigfoot should have voting rights because they're a hybrid species or wild man species. So there's a lot of truth out there, but nobody seems to know what is the exact truth. And I think that would be a proper definition of it, but that's me and my ego talking. How do you feel about that? Because there are so many truths out there, Krista.
I think that's where it goes back to what Brandi said, nobody is an expert in any of these fields, so as you said, what's my truth is different than your truth, but neither one are wrong, in my opinion. So that's kind of my 2 cents on it.
How about you, Brandi?
It's very hard for me. I mean, I guess I'm trying to find out the answers to my questions. I guess if you want to say that, it's the answers to my questions. And I just don't think anybody out there has them yet.
Right.
I mean, they may one day, and I'm hoping they do in my lifetime. And I'm hoping it's me. It probably won't be, but I'm hoping it's me. But I'm just going to keep looking for those answers for me, my answers.
Makes total sense.
You know what? I think both of you answered that beautifully. I really do. And I think those are probably 2 of the smartest answers to that question that I've ever heard. So thank you. Yeah. I mean, this isn't a difficult field. I think we make it difficult. And I've always said to people when they ask me, how do you get into ghost hunting and how do you get into Bigfoot hunting or whatever? And the first thing I always tell them is, I'm not a researcher. I'm just like you. I don't carry a camera into the field outside of my phone. I don't carry gear with me, maybe the odd time on a paranormal investigation. I'm just there to eat up the experience, man. That's all I'm there for. But there are people who take it very seriously. You have friends, I have friends who are all about it. And what is it about this, Krista, that you absolutely love? What wakes you up in the morning thinking, damn it, I can't believe I'm in this field?
So for me, it's always been about like helping other people. There's so many times that I've been to so many private cases that people, they reach out to, even different paranormal teams, and they want to charge them a whole bunch of money, or they'll reach out to their church and the church don't want anything to do with it, and we can go in and help these people to understand, we can't always get rid of what's there, but maybe we can help them to understand what is there and why, and give them some sort of answer, some sort of closure. And that's all it's always been about for me.
And for you, Brandi?
I really don't know how to answer that. I mean, because I'm more like Krista. I'm looking for not necessarily closure, but maybe it is.
Mhm.
I'm so confused in a lot of these fields because I like to look for Bigfoot. I like to take the equipment out. I like to do things like that in the field. I mean, I'm not. I guess I don't want to call it a hobbyist either. It's just it's fun. I enjoy the experience. I love the camaraderie with everybody who goes out there. I love the teamwork. Um, but like I said, the explanations are just it's just what I'm looking for.
And that's where,
Honestly,
yeah, and that's
it's
where Brandi and I differ too, because she does go, she goes to a lot of the well-known haunted locations all over the United States. And
mm-hmm.
that's not my thing. I would prefer to do private cases and help somebody. And when I do these big haunted locations, it's always about preservation and raising money. We don't pocket anything. And we
No,
turn around and
never.
we give that money back to the location that we're holding an event at. So, that's how Brandi and I are different, but that's what makes us work.
Right. Yeah. Because I like to travel and go to the bigger locations. And, because every location is, oh, this is the most haunted location in America. You always hear that. This is the most haunted location. And I'm like, well, I'm from the show me state. So show me. I got to
Mhm.
go find out for myself to see what it's like out there. And, sometimes I have amazing experiences. And then sometimes it's like watching paint dry. You're sitting there and you're waiting and waiting and waiting and nothing happens. But that's part of the game. That we have to do when we're out there is just wait.
Mhm.
You can't make things happen. It's just it's kind of like you have to be lucky. You have to be lucky.
Do you think too many people getting into this field think that there's action all the time? They watch the television shows. They've been going strong on the television shows since the early 2000s. I mean, this over 20 years now, hard to believe. And we watch those shows and we think, man, like if I could, I could do that. I would go into those places, go into that room. I wouldn't be freaking out. I wouldn't be jumping and running the hell out of here. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Do you think people truly understand what these monsters are all about? We all love monsters,
Mhm.
but do we really know? Are we really that engaged, or is it all fantasy?
I
Krista,
think
let's start.
I was going to say, I think a lot of people, they get into it at first just for the thrill of it, for the adrenaline rush, I think. And then, then they soon realize, it's a lot of sitting in dark rooms and nothing happens. And as you said, the TV shows, they portray a false narrative with what it's truly about. And so, and also they don't understand like what they could be potentially dealing with. They could open up doors that they don't know how to close themselves. So I always caution anybody who's new, find a reputable team and go with another team. Don't go off by yourself and, things like that, because, you don't know what you're playing with. And we've been doing it a long time, and we still, go in with our guards up, and, we just happen to know what kind of signs to look for.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you think about that, Brandi?
For me, I don't think that people understand in that 45 minutes that you may get on the TV, or what we used to get on the TV, it takes them a week to get even what they have.
Right.
And, and some of it, by the people we've talked to and things like that, some of it may or may not be real. I'm not going to say anything or say who, but it may or may not be real. And as for beginners going in, by all means, do go. Just go with somebody who knows what they're doing.
Right.
And that'll show you who you really are. Because, it's the fight or flight thing. When something happens, it doesn't even have to be anything big, but when something happens and you're ghost hunters, because we'll just sit there and go, oh, can you do that again? is like, can you make that happen again? Because it's really exciting. But other people they just get like, I can't be here. That's too scary. I've got to go. And people have a tendency to freak themselves out with nothing happening just by being in the dark, because they think the dark itself is scary when it really isn't.
Right.
It is a scary time though, because for most people, I don't do a lot of ghost hunting. I resigned recently from my ghost tour that I started at our local museum due to politics, and I hope they continue it with our other people who are there. But I love spending time in the forest, and even though I'm not a big forest guy, I'm still learning every time I'm out there. I'm getting more and more confident as I go. But I mean, when you are in the forest, I don't think the majority of people know what it's like to be in a forest. They don't know what it's like to be up on gravel roads and 25, 30 miles from civilization, and all of a sudden having, something incomprehensible happen.
Yes.
I mean, like, I take my community, and there's 2,500 people in my community. If I'm 30 miles into the forest, hell, if I'm 10 miles into the forest, I don't see a soul.
Yeah.
And I think that because a lot of us are looking at this as from a television, a YouTube, a social media perspective, we forget how scary the forest can actually be.
Absolutely. And that's the thing too. I've done paranormal for so long, and that adrenaline rush really isn't there anymore. I don't get spooked. I don't, it takes a whole lot to really scare me. But you put me out in the woods, and that's creepy. I agree. And we've done that many times, and it's different each time. But when you're out there and it's dark, and you can hear things, but you can't see it. Yeah.
Right. And the things that we're looking for out there, we know that there are predators out there that everybody believes in, that everybody knows they exist, those other predators. And my biggest fear is the human factor. I never know what else is out there, if there is somebody else out there. And like I said, the human factor is the one that I'm most afraid of when I'm out in the woods.
Right.
I would agree with that. Outside of grizzly bears.
Oh, yeah, them too.
We don't have grizzly bears here in Missouri, thankfully. We do
right.
But yeah.
Well, the occasional black bear, but that's all right.
The black bears don't really scare me. I've been up here 9.5 years, and I've only encountered one grizzly bear. That's when I was driving on a vehicle. Just happened to see her and her cubs running down a logging road as we were driving by. But I mean, as gross as it may sound, the one thing that I've learned about living in the wilderness is learn your poop.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yes.
That is one of the most important lessons that I have learned going into the forest is learn your poop. Because if you ever see grizzly bear droppings, it's about the size of, if you took Campbell's cheese soup, the can of cheese soup, and you put about 10 of them on the ground and shake them out, that's grizzly bear size.
Wow.
That's a big animal, man.
Big
animal.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I think we forget about that safety, Brandi. So we got about 30 seconds.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's one of those things. We have the baby bears, you have the big bears.
True story.
As long as the Kodiaks and the polar bears stay way like 2,000 miles north of me, I'm okay with that. I'm very okay with that.
Well, they say a polar bear is the most aggressive bear there is. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to find out.
No, I don't want to find out either. I don't even want to find out about a grizzly bear. Ladies, hold on right there because we're going to break here at the bottom of the hour. When we return with Krista and Brandi from Blondes and Boos Podcast, we are going to get into their best haunted stories. I love story time on Spaced Out Radio. I hope you do too. We'll be right back, everybody. All right, we are clear. T2E, where have you been hiding? Haven't seen you forever. Forever. Ever. Thank you for the love with the super chat. Jeremy Jones, how you doing? Exactly like Dave after a Taco Bell binge. Exactly. Thurston Howell the Third, how's Lovey? Please let us know. Who else has jumped in here? I think we're caught up. We're caught up. For people who have never been here before, just so you know, we are a live radio show along with the YouTube channel and podcast. So we do have to take commercial breaks every 30 minutes. But don't worry. Don't worry. We'll get right to the show. I promise you. You just get the behind the scenes stuff if you're on the podcast and on the YouTube side, Twitch side too. Paisley Parker, how are you? And what else can I tell you? Yeah, I had a good dinner tonight. I smell like garlic.
What did you eat?
Well, leftover turkey. But you see, being Ukrainian, I was taught early in life the importance of garlic.
Yeah.
And so, like, I eat raw garlic cloves.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I am like garlic cloving out of my pores like anything right now.
Well, it'll keep the bugs away, right?
Yeah.
I will tell you this. I had, prior to Christmas, I had a real dry cough going on. And it just pissed me off. And 3 days of eating garlic cloves, I don't have that dry cough.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm a big spice guy. I believe, not that I'm like a naturopath kind of guy, but I believe in the power of spices. I really do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Phineas on X, how are you, brother? Good to see you. Hold on. I must stop everything because one of the most important people in my life is texting me right now, Mama Catherine. Oh, hold on. Please say hi to my granddaughter, Ava. She's sleeping over, and so she can listen in. Hello, beautiful Ava. How are you? I believe your grandma sent me your Christmas picture with Santa Claus, and you looked absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I hope Santa was good to you, my dear. Have a wonderful night. And your grandma's awesome. I adopted Mama Catherine after my mom passed away last year. I asked her if she would be my fill-in mom.
Wow.
So, and graciously she accepted. And so I get a beautiful text message from her every morning when I wake up because she's in, I think in Atlanta. And so she's 3 hours ahead of me, but I wake up to a text message wishing me good morning every morning from her. I love her.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm blessed for that.
You are.
Very blessed. Thunderheart, how are you? Good to see you. Oh, Ava has a big grin on her face. Wonderful. Wonderful. We love you, Ava. You can call me Uncle Davey.
That's awesome.
Yes, it's little Timmy James' birthday tomorrow. All right. Here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, purple-haired Pixie Laura and little Timmy James. Happy birthday to you. Tim owes me breakfast.
Well, happy birthday.
Yep, happy birthday. You don't want to hear me sing. That's why I didn't join you. I'm telling you, everybody would be hanging up, getting out of chat.
John Jackson, how are you? Yeah, I don't know why I started that, but it just happened. Just happened. We got about 20 seconds here before we're gonna launch back up.
Okay.
And thank you to Richard, Deborah Rooney, Cat Chaser, T. Tui, and Sweet Donnie Cho for that lovely super chatting. Greatly appreciate the love and support. It helps us grow each and every night. And thank you to everybody who has hit subscribe, rang that bell. Merle, it isn't a good sign if you're here, Merle. I'm just saying. Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. We always appreciate bringing the tinfoil woo to you on a nightly basis. I want to remind you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, you can check out our free archives on YouTube or any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. We have Brandi, we have Krista. They are part of a podcast called Blondes and Boos, talking about all things weird, strange, like we like to on this show. Thank you very much, ladies, for joining us. Brandi, let's kick things off with you here. And what's your weirdest, strangest, scariest, funniest, whatever it is, experience that stands out for you?
Gosh, I guess this would have to do with all about me, I guess. This has been kind of an ongoing, I don't know if you want to call it an attachment, a haunting. It's something going on with me. I have a friend, and that's what we politely call it amongst us with Krista and everybody. It's my friend. Likes to travel with me when I go to places. We had gone to Michigan to a Paracon up in Michigan, and Krista and I had both stayed in separate rooms at the hotel. Well, my friend apparently had come with me and had messed with her and her roommate there the whole entire weekend. I had the best rest I could possibly have all weekend. This thing was messing with them, throwing things down in their hotel room and waking them up. And I slept great. But as soon as I got home, I had laid down for the night and I was just ready to drift off. I closed my eyes and got peaceful. And then I hear my name loud and clear. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, everything in my house, I start hearing walking going on and things being moved around and things like that. And I'm like, okay, so it's back. It's mm-hmm. back. I didn't get to leave it anywhere. It didn't go anywhere. It just left me alone for the weekend. And I've been having several different problems here lately with different attachments, hauntings, things like this. I was going to work one morning and it was probably about 4:30, and I live out of town quite a bit. I live in farmland, and it's dirt roads and just way out there. And I was driving into town so I could get to the highway to go to work. And I'm coming up in the town, and there's like one street light right there. None of the businesses were open. Everything was closed down. I didn't see anyone traveling the road or anything, but I saw somebody come up from a distance, but I could see them coming up to the street light. And it was just a black shadow. That's all I could see. And I'm like, okay, I need to be careful in case this person is having issues or, I don't know what their mental stability was at the time. They may run out in the street. They may do all kinds of things. So I need to be careful. So I looked back at the road to make sure that I'm staying on the road correctly. And then when I looked back to see where that person was, they were completely gone. Mm-hmm. There were no houses. There were no brush that they could hide behind. There was nothing. They couldn't even have laid down in the grass. I would have seen them. And at that moment, I started smelling a burning smell, like oil that had been left on way too long. It just had that just overcooked smell to it. And as I was driving, it stayed in my car for probably a quarter mile, and then it kind of just dissipated. And then from then on out, I've had more than one friend come visit me at my house. They've come and flicked on lights and had just a great time in the garage, flicking on the garage lights and moving curtains in the house, opening cabinet doors. Yeah, it's very, very strange. Very strange. But yeah,
Also,
that's
yeah, I was gonna say also talking on our show too, because we've gotten EVPs and things like that. Not even an EVP, it's like it's audible. And people in chat are like, who is that? What was that? And then, we go back and look at it, and sure enough, it's somebody to us.
Right, because we were doing our show, and we were just doing all of our audio together, but we kept having disembodied voices. So we were trying to figure out whose mic are we getting these voices from. So eventually on different shows, we were separating all the audio, and come to find out they're from my audio. So they're coming from my home. So that was just another thing. And it's like we had one really audible one where we were at the end of the show and I said goodbye to everybody from the show. Krista says bye-bye. And then you hear this little tiny girl's voice goes, bye-bye, just right at the end. Mm-hmm. And there was nobody else with us. So, I mean, we're always getting something into that, like they're just like trying to take over the mic all the time. And they do break in, they do say things every now and again. So people in our chat room are on the lookout for those things. And they'll say, I heard a voice and they'll tell us in chat, and we'll go back and look at it and things like that. And we'll figure it out. But yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm. And it's not my house. It's 100% Brandi's.
Oh, who doesn't have a ghost in their house? I got a ghost in the studio here.
This particular ghost, like it has been, as she said, it travels. It's been to Michigan. It's been to Tennessee. It's been to Alabama. It's been to Texas. It's been to Arkansas. It goes everywhere with us. It's the weirdest.
Goes everywhere.
That is so weird. Oh, I love it. Yeah, I love it. I mean, does. Let me ask you a couple questions here, because I got about 10 of them in my head that are scrambling right now.
Okay.
Does it bother you knowing that you're being followed all over the place by this ghost?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't, because I think that ghosts are everywhere. Spirits are everywhere. It's just, are you opened up enough to see them? Mm-hmm. And I see them truly everywhere. Like Walmart is like the worst place, because I think that people are carrying, them with them also while they're there. And it's just like one big, like noisy place, because you're just seeing these things and you're hearing them, and everybody's walking around like, hey, it's okay. It's, like everyday normal things. And I'm sitting there going, do you not hear them talking to you? Mm-hmm. Do you not see them walking with you? Because you catch glimpses of them all the time. Where I work now, I've seen them like really early in the morning. I go to work, I have to be there by 4. And it's really dark out there, and you just see them inside the building. You see them perhaps walk, just a little bit around, and then you'll flick on the lights to go in, and they're not there. Mm-hmm. I just believe they're everywhere.
Do you know the name of this ghost that follows you?
I don't, it's kind of like, I don't want to open that can of worms, because I don't want it to get too comfortable. I don't know if that makes any sense to you. I don't interact with them in my home, only because that I think the more you interact with them, the stronger they become and disruptive they could become. Mm-hmm. Now, I do have one in particular that I know is here, but I don't converse with him, because I believe it is my nephew. My nephew lived here in the last 6 months of 2020 during the COVID shutdown, and him and his father were both here. And my brother was struck with COVID very early on in February of 2020, where he was a truck driver and contracted COVID, and they put him in the hospital. They didn't think he was going to survive. So they called me, they called my mother, and they told, us to come to Virginia because they didn't think he was going to make it, very much longer. So I flew my mom out there, and he did make it with a lot of complications since then. But he moved in with us because he was still very sick after that. His son was going to school and everything, and they shut down his school because of COVID. So he came to live with us in my household also. Well, they moved out in December of 2020, and they moved into their own place together. And in January of 2021, my nephew died in a single car accident.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
About 16 miles from the house. Yeah, it was really tragic. About 16 miles from the house. And nothing happened at first. Nothing at all happened. And there's just little stories of things that we used to talk about that have kind of made me think it was him. Like I was talking about the garage lights and things like that. My nephew would like to smoke, and I said, hey, just, it's cold outside, because it was at that time. I said, just go outside. I said, go into there's a third bay of the garage. I said, go down there, set you out a little chair, smoke out there, and I said, you'll be warm. And he's like, okay. So when I had the lights flickering on and off, that third bay lights are the ones that were flicking on and off. Mm-hmm. So, it was just showing me that perhaps that was him that was there. Also, I had walked out, and I have a Jeep that sits down there, and I had seen a black shadow one morning. As I flicked on the lights to get in my car, I seen it walk down, at a pretty fast pace, the side of the Jeep. Now, my nephew was pretty tall. He was about 6'3", 6'4". And this thing was standing over the top of my Jeep. So I know that it was well over the 6-foot range. So again, third bay, another instance where I thought it was him. The other one, like the little girl and the things like that, I don't know where those are coming from. I don't know if it's because maybe that Krista and I could be a beacon. It's like, because we believe in these things, we look for them, we talk to them in other places. Maybe they think it's a free space. Maybe they think that's a nice place to be because they believe in us, and it's good. It's just a nice place to be. I believe that some are transients that come in and visit for a while and then they move on. Mm-hmm. I don't believe that all ghosts are physically stuck in a place. I think they can move from place to place. Especially like if you're dealing with a loved one or something, sometimes you'll feel them in the graveyard. If you're in the graveyard talking to them, you can feel them there. But then if you go home, and you could also feel them when you're at home. I just don't think that some are stuck in one spot. I think it's just where they want to be.
Yep.
Do you think ghosts know they're dead, Krista?
I think some do. I don't think all of them do. I think a lot of them, there's the intelligent, and then there's the residual. So the residual, I don't think they know they're dead, because, it just repeats, so no, I don't believe they know they're dead. However, intelligent ones, I would say both, because, we've gotten EVPs where we asked, we don't ask your typical questions. We'll ask, like, do you like peanut butter and jelly or things like that? But a lot of the questions that you can ask, heels or flats and things like that. So it kind of, different questions can, do you wear bloomers type things? So give you a time period. So a lot of those, like we'll get like time periods from back, say 1940s. So do they know they're dead? maybe not, because they are still stuck in 1940, you know.
Mm-hmm. A lot of it is I know that a lot of these places, not residential cases, but I'm talking about a lot of these big places that we go to, they're hunted, and they're hunted all the time, and they hear the
Right.
same questions. Do you know you're dead? Do you
Yeah.
know what year it is? Do you know what, this, that, or who's the president? They hear the same questions over and over again. I get in there and try to get creative and just ask the most off the wall questions to see if I can get a legitimate conversation happening.
But we'll also ask, like something that, do you have a car? Or do you ride a horse? Or, things like that too. So you can kind of, figure out where they're from without saying, what year is this?
Exactly. And we don't ask, are you male or you female? Do you wear pants or do you wear a dress? Or, we try to narrow it down with responses and see if we can figure out, if they're not going to give us a direct answer, maybe they'll talk to us in a casual conversation.
And they like cookies. We've talked about cookies, and we'll just start talking about cookies. And, next thing you know, you get EVPs talking about cookies.
Cookies, ice cream, baseball. Baseball's another one. Yeah. Just crazy things. Yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but I think that asking a ghost, do you know you're dead, is probably, like, I'm not a politically correct person, but there are certain questions I will not ask a human being.
That is one of them.
Right.
Or a ghost. And that is one of them, because here's the problem. Many of these spirits don't know they're dead.
Right.
They have no clue that they are dead. I mean, to them, we haven't been able to figure out. This is the way I look at it. And I was taught this by some very experienced paranormal people.
Yeah.
We don't know if we're the ghost to them or they're the ghost to us.
It's true.
It's a different timeline that they are living on that is interacting with ours. We can't call them ghosts.
Right.
So, but even if they are deceased, some of them don't even know because it happened so fast. Right. Maybe they're walking away and take a bullet to the back of the head. Maybe they're in a car accident. Maybe they're stillborn and they don't understand why. I mean, there are so many situations. And do you think that just shows the amateur aspect of the attitude that anybody can do this? Brandi?
I think you really have to be respectful. I mean, that is first and foremost. I mean, you're not really going to ask a hospice patient if they know they're dying. You're not really going to be that disrespectful. And I think when people who are uneducated, I guess, in the paranormal field, and they I guess they don't realize how disrespectful they can be by asking those questions. That's just something you just don't do. And most of the evidence that we've gotten have been conversations that we've been having amongst ourselves, and not with them, and they've inserted themselves into our conversation.
So we have it's luck asking the odd questions and then just talking amongst ourselves, as Brandi said.
Yeah, I mean, we sit and that's again, go with somebody who you like to ghost hunt, because I tell you what, you're going to be sitting for hours talking to each other, and sometimes that's actually the best. Yeah. If you just go about your own business, then they get more inquisitive. It seems to me that they really want to interact with you, but like I said, you've just got to be respectful, and most generally you will get a respectful ghost. I'm not saying always, because Krista and I have ran up against some that are not demons, but they were, I call them grumpy or nasties, where they're just not super nice. And when we find out, basically, if we can find out information on that particular spirit, 9 times out of 10, they were not very nice in life.
Right.
So in death, it's not going to change a thing.
And, going back to where, not realizing if they passed or not, we've had, there's certain locations that I can tell you now that, maybe someone died in 1920 and someone died in the 60s in the same location, but they don't even know each other are there.
Right.
They're stuck in there. This one's stuck in 1920. This one's in 1960. And they have no idea that the other's there. So that's, where I believe that, a lot of these don't.
It's almost like a different spiritual plane that they're living on. Yeah.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we kind of get wrapped around on the communication aspect of wondering what is trying to happen, what is happening, and our brains are trying to manipulate us to try to figure out that situation rather than just taking it for what it is.
Sure.
We have 4 minutes to go here, and I know this comes up in our audience quite a bit. Is there proof? Is there proof of ghosts? Is there proof of life after death? Is there proof of dimensions? Because there's a big difference between evidence and proof. And I think a lot of people get those crossed and twisted quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Your thoughts?
I think, we've gotten, like I said, pictures and EVPs and, things like that. Is it proof? Maybe what is proof to me might not be proof to you, but, I know I can sum it up and say that I wholeheartedly believe that there are ghosts. But as far as proof, no, because it like a lot of the equipment, a lot of this stuff can be manipulated as well. So that's not proof either. It's just like I said, the manipulation factor. A lot of people use their cell phones and have these apps put on, and I don't believe in those. And even a ghost box can pick up something that I don't think they're 100% legit. You use different pieces of equipment, and if you're close to a cell phone, well, it's going to go off, and you get false positives. So
which happens a lot.
So as far as proof, no, I don't think there's legitimate proof. But do we have evidence that I believe is ghost? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, and like I would consider evidence being photographic, maybe EVPs, video recordings, whatever it may be. I also do believe, if I expand on that, because I do believe there are gray areas, I do believe that personally, you can have your own proof to prove that the phenomena is real. If you experience something and see it with your own eyes, that it's happening right in front of you, like when I saw the alien in the forest, or Bigfoot in the forest, or the 2 UFOs on the ground that I've seen, I know that's real. That's 100% disclosure and confirmation for me.
Right.
But for the overall essence of it all, I don't think we really have any proof,
right,
that any of this exists. We still don't know what death is. We know we die, but we don't know what happens on death. We have evidence of near-death experiences, mostly positive, very few negative. We have, we have videos of Bigfoot. We have AI videos of Bigfoot. UFOs, I think, is going to be the next brutal telling of AI. Already starting to see it.
Yeah.
Yes.
All of a sudden, video is now going to go the way of audio and photography, where we're not going to be able to trust any of it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's already there, I think. And a lot of it, you see a lot of pictures, be it ghost or, a Bigfoot, whatever. And, people, if it is legit, people accuse you of using AI. And if it, it just, I agree. Yeah. I think
I think it's going to be very hard to tell
what's legit and what's not.
Yeah. I think that anything that we do have as evidence now is going to become a blur with AI soon.
I agree with you. And then guess what, people? Whether you like it or not, the people's experiences are the only evidence that's going to be somewhat proper. The
Yep.
anecdotal stories. We're going right back to where we started, and I love it.
Mhm.
I do. And I can't wait to get back there. I don't know
Yep.
about you ladies, but I cannot wait to get back there.
Oh yeah.
We have Krista, we have Brandi, and we are through 1 hour with Blondes of Boos podcast, ladies. More stories of their encounters and their knowledge when we return on Spaced Out Radio. Stay tuned, everybody. This is Spaced Out Radio with host Dave Scott. All right, we have about 6 minutes. I'm going to step away for a minute. I'm going to put both you and Krista back in the green room. I'll be right back, okay?
Okay. Yeah, I got to get some water too. So no problem.
Be right back.
Thank you.
Be right back, everybody. Did you guys make my chair move? Anybody? Firewater by Design, how you doing?
I
What
guess.
else do we? Well, look at that. It's Big Tex and Big Tex's beard. Two separate entities right there. John Swan, how you doing? Long time, no time. Thanks, Corey Cole. Appreciate that. And no, we're not going to be your 51st state. Remember, America, read your history books. You're 0-2 against us. Richard, Deb, Cat Chaser, T. Tui, and Donnie Cho for the super chats. Thank you very much. And here we go. Here we go with the second hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you very much for taking the time to share the woo with us. We very much appreciate earning your listening years wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Hurry-o-late. Hurry-o-late is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. We have Krista. We have Brandi. They have a podcast called Blondes and Boos, where they talk about all things weird and strange, much like we do. And we're having a fantastic conversation tonight with these great ladies of the podcast world. Welcome back, Krista and Brandi.
Thank you.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
All right, Krista, we want to hear your top story. Weird, strange, scary. What do you got for us?
So I have a couple. As I had said earlier, you know, I like to do the private cases, and that includes the bad cases. And you know, Brandi and I, there are demons out there, absolutely, but you know, your average haunting, demons are far and few between. However, I have been on a couple cases that were truly demonic hauntings, and I've told this story before. It was a couple out in Salina, Kansas. And I was with my team at the time. And this particular team, I was part of two teams. One of them, we did just the bad cases. And this happened to be a bad case. And we knew it going into it. And we had went to the house. The lady, she was a hot mess. She was an ex-prostitute in the Wichita, Kansas area. And the boyfriend, they weren't married at the time. He had done 27 years in prison for unaliving somebody. And they had a haunting, literally, and it was bad. The guy was a big guy. He had been thrown across the room and just all kinds of things they were saying. So when we go in, you know, we have to have our own evidence too. We don't go in and it's not that we don't believe you, but we want to capture our own things. So we walked through that whole house. I had equipment and there was nothing. I mean, not a spike on a millimeter. I mean, absolutely nothing. And at the time I was a smoker and I had went outside to smoke with another teammate, and there was a shed in the back, and we were both kind of drawn to it, and we walked down there, and literally she and I were knocked to the ground. This unseen force literally came out of that shed and knocked us down. So real calmly, you know, I had asked Kathy, I said, you know, go in and let our friend Tony know that, you know, we found it. It's here. It's just hiding. And so anyway, we ended up, it's a long story, and a lot of people, you know, when I tell this, it's 100% true what I'm going to tell you. And when it's a true demonic haunting, things happen that you can only imagine. Like this lady, we went in, I let Tony know what was going on, and it was time to start the exorcism. And she, was saying things that she didn't know, it was deep, dark secrets from all of us. And so, that's the first clue. And so as he's going in more with the exorcism, and my job when this is going on is I pray. I say the Lord's Prayer. I keep repeating it. And I watched our friend Tony get scratched by invisible razor blades. I kid you not. There was some kind of spiritual warfare going on there, and I can't explain it, but 100% it's the truth. And it took a little while, and once it was over with, he was all bloody, and he took off his shirt, and he was just a hot mess. And she, on the other hand, we don't once we're done, we don't just like drop you and say, hey, never call us again. We stay in contact with them. But anyway, we gave her pointers, and, their lives had been turned around, and just from the sadness, it from both of them, their past, had invited this demonic entity in, and ended up having a happy ending. She, believe it or not, we had told her one thing, that her house was real dark, open your blinds, let sunshine in, let light in any way you can. And so, she took our advice, he took our advice. And to make a long story short, they ended up getting married. She got her children back. She actually went to try out for what's that show that they sing? You know what I'm talking about, to try out?
Voice.
Yeah, one of those. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And she didn't make it, but however, it's the fact that she did it, that she tried to do it, and their life has changed. But I have to say that was one of the most scariest times that I knew that, I couldn't show any fear. For one thing, you never show fear. And was I scared? Heck yes, I was scared. I just couldn't show it. And that's got to be one of the scariest times in my life.
Mm-hmm.
What is that like, not being able to show fear in that type of situation?
Your adrenaline, honestly, it takes over, and you just don't, I'm concentrating on praying, I'm our Father who art in heaven. And then, your words get stronger and stronger because you believe the words that you say. So it's not just saying the words. It's not just saying the prayer. You're believing the prayer. You're believing that prayer works. So like it left me the scaredness, but after, before and after, I was like, wow, I'm glad that's over. What the heck did I just go through, and it's a very scary thing, and it's nothing to be played with, for sure. And had I known, anytime you do anything, mess with the demonic, you are marked, whether you like it or not, whether you knowingly, if you go to a haunted location and you start communicating with something and it happens to be a demonic type entity, you are marked. They may try to get you, tomorrow, it may be 25 years from now, but they will catch you at your lowest, and you have to keep your guard up. You have to stay strong. So can I ever let my guard down? No, because had I known going into that, I never would have done a demonic case.
Yeah. Well, Krista, you've got to also tell about what you found out after the fact about that woman and
Mm-hmm.
what she survived.
Yeah. So this lady, so the Tony, he's a very, very good psychic medium, and Brandi can, agree to that. But before we started the exorcism, he said, I don't know why, he said, but I'm picking up on the BTK killer. I'm like, well, as far as I know, I think the BTK killer is still alive. And well, after it was all over, he told her, like, he said, I don't know why I'm getting the BTK killer. Well, she just started crying. She was one of his survivors.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. From many, many years previous. Yeah. So, I mean, talk about hard life, and that really both of them, the man, he unalived someone, he did his time, we knew this going into it, but we don't go and judge people, what they did in their past. He did his time, whatever. But, it was quite the ordeal, let me tell you.
I think one of the scariest things I've ever seen happened on our ghost tour this year. One of the first ghost tours we had, where we had a lady get possessed by a ghost. I have never seen that before.
Mm-hmm.
And she was literally bent over on a 45-degree angle, and her fingers were like tight, and they were like trying to intermix with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew it wasn't her. And I grabbed a hold of her and had her hands, and I wouldn't let her hands go. Right. And her voice changed, her face changed, her facial expressions, and she doesn't drink. And she kept saying, "Get me a effing drink right now," like in a male husky voice. "Get me an effing drink right now. I want an effing drink." Anyways, this went on. It went on for about 20 minutes, half an hour. And in order to get it out of her, I had to take it into me.
Oh, wow.
And she was literally, I'm a big dude. Like I'm not a small dude. Like I'm about 250 pounds. And she was dragging me across the floor.
Oh, wow.
And Tim in our chat room, Tim James in our chat room right now, our UFO guy, he actually was there when this was going on, and he was watching this happen. And I had to take it and get it out of myself. It was one of the creepiest things I've ever seen happen. And
do you believe it was a human entity, or do you believe it was a demonic entity?
It was human.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the interesting part about this is we did some research, and about 9 miles away last November, a 23-year-old man was killed in a car accident on a head-on on the highway. And one of the things that the victim had said about this, and including a psychic had said about this, was that they were picking up something about his legs. They couldn't figure out, there was something wrong with his legs. And in that car accident, this gentleman lost a leg.
Oh, man.
Oh, wow.
So the one thing now, people will say, well, geez, that's 9 miles away. What would he be at the museum for if the accident happened 9-10 miles from that south? Well, they don't know territory. They know energy. Right? And if they know spiritual energy on that side, they're going to find it. And this guy snuck up on her. He snuck up on her big time.
Wow.
Because I was the first person into that room, and normally I pick up things, and I didn't pick them up. And I was so pissed off about that. So upset, because she was literally, hurting. Outside of that scarily amazing story, Krista, what is the strangest or scariest location you have ever been to?
I have to say it was probably a private case that we did. Yeah, I would say it was a private case. It was one that, it was kind of funny, actually. A lady was being victimized by an entity, and it was just a small house that she lived in, and she was being touched inappropriately. And so literally me and another, we propositioned the ghost just to try to get it to repeat, to validate what her claims. So that was, yeah.
So what was this location like? Can you describe it?
It was a house, just a small 2-bedroom, 1-bath house. And she lived by herself, and no idea where she picked it up at, or she had lived in the house for quite some time. So I think she was a little sensitive, honestly, and something just kind of attached to her is what I think happened. And sure enough, it, we, me and another girl, we had cameras on us, and other teammates were in the other room watching the camera. So, I mean, we were watched at all times, but, we were, asking, we'll let you touch our leg if you, have that light up to green or, things like that. So yeah, it was pretty interesting. She did have her mother's ashes in the house, but I don't believe her mother was there or had anything to do with the haunting.
How about you, Brandi? Scariest location?
I think my scariest location would be Brushy Mountain Penitentiary there in Tennessee. Not that different things happened. It was just the amount of physical touch that I was receiving during the whole time. I had taken it's just a walk by yourself kind of tour thing where you can walk through. They've got things standing up. You just read the plaques and all of these kind of things. And I ended up in the cafeteria area by myself that day. I don't know why or how, because I'm telling you, there was at least 2,000 people on the grounds that day. And I had ended up in the cafeteria all by myself, and there was nobody in there. And I felt something just tap me on the top of the head, like they were just trying to get my attention. They were tapped me twice on the top of the head. And I'm like, okay. So I didn't run out of there, but I kind of moved away from where I was. And it had this kind of feeling that somebody was definitely standing next to you, very close to you in your personal space.
Mm-hmm.
I kept feeling that throughout until I left the cafeteria area. Well, a small group, we got to investigate that whole prison that evening. So while I was there, like I said, I kept getting my hair pulled. I kept getting poked. And then one of the ladies I was with brought just a generic pack of cigarettes, because they say that cigarettes were their bartering system while the prison was open. So I had the cigarettes, and it didn't matter what pocket I put it in my jeans. If I put it in either side of my back, in my back pant pocket or the front pants pocket, it didn't matter. I could just be standing there and they would fall out of my pants. They would literally come out of my pocket and drop to the ground. And that probably happened 9 or 10 times during the evening. I did see a full-bodied apparition come around a corner at me. I don't know if it saw me or if it was just running its own loop timeline. It could have been residual. I don't know. But I think it was just the sheer amount of energy it took for them to physically touch you. And I was receiving that all night long. And then there is a cell block. They call it cell block C. And you go up on the third floor of that cell block. And there's, of course, a whole row of rooms up there, of course, the cells. And they said that if you light a cigarette and you lay it down, someone will come take that cigarette and smoke it. So I'm like, okay. So I lit the cigarette and I sat it down and I waited and nothing happened. I'm like, okay. I said, okay. I said, if you're not going to come smoke this cigarette, I said, I'm going to smoke it. And the next thing you know, I probably halfway down the cell block, you start hearing something move. And then the next thing you know, you start hearing feet, like just shuffling across the floor, coming towards the cell that we were in. Of course, that made me, just jump a little bit, because I was sitting on one of the bunks, which was just metal, but it made me jump a little bit because I'm like, oh, I'm right next to the door and this thing's going to come to the door to get this cigarette. So I moved over a little bit and we sat there and we watched that cigarette, and we did watch the cherry brighten, not super bright as if it were a human who was alive smoking it, but it brightened up a little bit. And then you could physically see the filter on it start to turn yellow. from where they were dragging off of that cigarette.
Wow.
It was simply amazing. It was just simply amazing to watch. And but like I said, I think it was just the ability for them to touch you as much as it was done that night. Because the hair pulling thing, it doesn't hurt normally. I mean, unless it's something that's a not nice spirit, a nasty spirit, you know what I mean? But it was just more like a little hair tug or a little poke, or or them trying to get the cigarettes. That's basically what it was. It didn't matter where I put those cigarettes. They were trying to get them and pull them out of whatever pocket I had them in. So I think for me, that was the scariest thing, that they had that physical presence, that they could actually touch you.
I was gonna say, Dave, you had mentioned, that lady had been jumped, and then you were jumped. Brandi and I forgot about this one, Brandi.
Yeah,
we were at,
I did too.
It's called Big River Ranch in Lexington, Missouri. We spent a lot of time out there, and the place is very haunted. And there was a lady who was staying out there, and she had an attachment, no doubts about it. And this entity literally jumped out of her and was jumping into other people. And there was probably, 10 people there. And Brandi and I were probably 2 of the 4 that it didn't jump. But however, I feel like, we were strong enough. It wasn't going to jump us. We just wouldn't let it. But it kept jumping from this person to this person. That was the oddest thing. So we ended up getting it back in that lady, honestly. And we sent her to bed. And then the guy that I did the demonic case with, he ended up coming and ridding her of that at a later time.
Right.
But yeah, that was pretty crazy. So I understand what you're saying, Dave. When it jumps, Brandi and I witnessed it.
Yeah, I mean, you could watch her face literally morph into something else. It didn't look like her at certain points, because she just started screaming, and we're like,
well, and then it would jump into someone else, and then they would get this distorted look, and it's like
they would get and then they would start screaming, and then it was just like we couldn't control it, so we had to figure out a way to contain it in her until we could get somebody there who could take care of that, because this thing was strong. It wasn't anything to play with.
No, and this went on a good 45 minutes, and Brandi and I are looking at each other like, what the heck? What is going on here? And the one guy, it jumped, like he was passing out. It was awful. It was awful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't think people with 1 minute to go here understand how dangerous the paranormal can be.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And that's something we're going to try and get to some audience questions in the next half hour, but that's something that I really think that people really misjudge coming into this field, is that you need to have solutions for any potential problem that you have.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just in ghosts. I mean, every monster story, like if you're hunting Bigfoot or dogman in the forest, you have to be prepared. Mm-hmm. You have to be able to know what you're doing. I know when we go out in the forest, the windows are down on my vehicle, just so in case I've accidentally locked the door, and my key is always in the ignition, just in case.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And people just don't seem to know about that. When we return, we're going to get to more stories. We'll talk a little bit more cryptids. We'll try and get in some audience questions as well on Spaced Out Radio.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
All right, we are clear.
Awesome.
I'm having a blast with you guys tonight. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having us. And I will reach out to you to have you come on Blondes. I know you come on BMR's show quite a bit, and we have a lot of the same audience. So we try to, and I know you're coming on next week. So we try to space it out. So it'd probably be maybe like March or something. I'll shoot you some dates and stuff.
Give me a call. We'll figure something out.
Okay. Sounds
You
good.
know. Yes, for our audience, I will be on Bigfoot Michigan Rob's YouTube channel on January 1st.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If
Yeah.
he calls me, because, it's, I mean, I don't wear bandanas. He does.
He
So,
does.
you know,
We used to do on our show, we would do free giveaways of Blondes and Boos t-shirts. When Rob would be on our show, if they could guess the color of his bandana. And the first one that was correct, we would send him a t-shirt.
Mm-hmm.
nice.
Oh.
Nice.
Because you never know what color he's got to come up with. Sometimes it's patterned, sometimes it's solid. You just never know.
You never know.
He's traveled that way.
Yep. Yep. He's funny.
Yeah.
He's a blast. He's one of our favorite people.
He's been with me for a while.
Yeah.
A while.
Yep. And text you.
Sorry. Hi, Secreto. How you doing? I have a location here. I like to brag about it. My audience probably sick of me talking about it. But I have a location here that would scare the living hell out of you guys.
Really?
I love it.
Yeah. Adventures with Beth. How are you? Yeah, it's a plane crash site.
Oh.
Where 52 people died. The area is protected by a Sasquatch clan.
Oh, wow.
Oh, you're kidding me.
And UFOs and aliens visit it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sounds like my kind of place.
Yeah.
The same.
I'm going to be next year along with my buddy Tim, and we'll get some side help on it, but we're going to be doing probably a 2 to 3 year research project on it, because we can't investigate here year round.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah.
But it is I'm being haunted by the place.
Is it calling you?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
It's been calling me for almost 3 months now.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
last time that we were there, excuse me, we got chased out of the forest to the point that after we left in our vehicles, we got about 30, maybe 30, 40 feet, not yards, feet, down the gravel path to get out of there.
Mm-hmm.
And we had 2 high-pitched whistles right behind us.
Oh, wow.
They followed us out.
Yeah.
And there were 5 of us there.
Mm.
The most uncomfortable
I bet.
moment. And
Yeah.
we've had other weird things happen there. We've seen an alien walking through the trees, about a 6-foot gray. We've seen a UFO on the ground there.
Wow.
We've been forewarned about the aliens by the Sasquatch. We've walked away from camp, come back 20 minutes later. There's a footprint right by our tent.
Wow.
Yeah. And we haven't even touched the ghosts. It's a real sensitive topic in my town.
Mm-hmm.
This crash happened in 1965.
Wow.
And so it's one of the things that I noticed this year is that the birds don't chirp
Oh,
or
wow.
make noise in that area. You'll hear the ravens or the crows off in the distance, but you will never hear them at the crash site.
Wow. Well, they say when, you don't hear the sounds of the forest, pay attention.
Yeah.
Now, are you hearing like bugs or anything in the summertime? Like when it's warmer?
Yeah, it's mosquitoes, but I mean, mainly we hear the forest security alarm, the chipmunks and the
Mm-hmm.
squirrels.
Sure.
Mhm.
We got about 17 seconds here. So, Billy Kid, how you doing? Good to see you. Yeah, so it's still an open investigation. It's Canada's largest unsolved mass murder.
Wow.
Oh,
So there's a lot of tension there. Here we go, ladies.
okay.
Here's the second half of Spaced Out Radio underway now. My name is Dave Scott. We have the Blondes and Boos here until the top of the hour. We're going to continue the fun with them momentarily. Reminder to all of you that if you missed portions of this show or others, you can check out our free archives on YouTube or any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. We have Brandi and Krista from Blondes and Boos Podcast. We're going to get into the cryptid world here because we really haven't talked Bigfoot yet.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Have either of you ever had an encounter?
Mm-hmm. We had it together.
Yep. Yes, we have.
Okay. Brandi, fill me in. What happened?
Well, we kind of have to start with Krista because we had an encounter together. Now, I had one previous to that, but it was from at a very far distance. Well, not at a far distance, but it was at a pretty good clip out there. But the one Krista and I had was just a little bit different, and I'm going to let her begin because the story kind of begins with her.
Yeah. So we were at a private location in southern Missouri, and it was a camp out, and it was a Bigfoot camp out. And, we had tents. Our tent was right by the river. And it was 2:00 in the morning, something like that, Brandi, 2:30 maybe.
Mhm.
And it was time for bed. And so earlier in the evening, a bad storm had come through. It had wiped out the cook tent. It had wiped out other people's individual tents. How our tent stayed up, I don't know, but it did. So, but the floor was wet. So Brandi, she had been sleeping on an air mattress. She decided to stay in her car that night. So she got in her car, and I was in the tent, and I was playing on my phone. And I put my phone down, and it was maybe 10 minutes later. I'm just laying there listening, and I could hear something walk up. And by this time, the storm had moved out, and the sky was clear. The moon was bright, and I could hear something walk up. And I just laid there and listened, and I saw a shadow of something. I didn't see anything other than a shadow. And we could hear it around the tent. And there was another gal in there too, and she also heard it. So I sat up. It did freak me out. I'm not going to lie. It definitely freaked me out. And sat up and sat real quietly. And we could hear it outside our tent, but then it started moving down past us. And then this is where Brandi comes in.
So it didn't take me long. By the time we got in the car, we had a really super long day. And when I got in the car and I got settled down, I was in the front seat of my vehicle, and it was cold. So I had a sleeping bag, and whenever I'm cold, I just breathe into my sleeping bag, and it keeps me warmer. So I just had it up over my head. And then I started hearing something walk around out there. And I'm thinking, because first of all, I'm like, look, we ladies never go to the bathroom by ourselves. So I couldn't figure out why somebody would be out of their tent without notifying me that they were out of their tent. So I just lean up and I look out my driver's side door window, and I'm looking at our tent. There's no lights on. The door is not even unzippered, and nobody's moving. So I'm kind of like sitting there, okay, and I'm really groggy at this point. So then I turn my head and I start looking out the passenger side door, and I see something standing behind another tent that is out that side. And I'm looking at it and I'm trying to determine what it is. So I'm thinking, wait, okay, who's out here walking around? And then I'm like, that's too big. That's not a person. My next thing could it be a bear? Now, black bears are in the area. But I looked at it again, and this thing was standing straight up but it was kind of doing the little bobble from side to side. It was just kind of swaying from side to side. And as I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, that's Bigfoot. That's a Bigfoot right there. That's a Bigfoot. And I'm trying to look at it and trying to see what I could, but the moonlight is hitting on the back side of it. So it's kind of creating a shadow. So I can't see any features on its face or, to see if it was male or female. I couldn't get any of that, but I could see that the chest on it was probably, it looked to me like 2.5 to 3 feet wide. This thing was very stocky. The way it stood, it was about 6.5 foot tall from what I could determine from where I was sitting, which was about 20 feet from it. And, I just watched it, try to determine, I think, what it was going to do next. I couldn't tell if it was looking at me because I didn't jerk up out of my seat. I kind of just leaned up slowly. So I wasn't making any type of movement where my car would move. I had my phone sitting next to me, but I'm thinking if I pick up my phone, this light's going to come on because mine's one of those. You pick it up, the light comes on so you can see the dial. And I'm like, I can't pick that up. I don't know what to do here. And then I'm like, well, it doesn't seem aggressive. I had about 45 seconds, which is a very long time for a Bigfoot sighting. It's a very long time. And it wasn't doing anything but sitting there. And like I said, it's swaying back and forth. And I'm thinking, sleeping in my car is kind of like a false security because the sheer height and width of this thing, it could have came and taken out my window of the car, dragged me out and into the woods before anybody could get out of their tent, which was a very scary thought at that point. So I'm like, well, I don't know if this thing had seen me. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to ease on back into, the position I was in. And I'm going to put my head back into, my sleeping bag because I didn't want to disturb it because you never know what's going to happen. Like if you startle something, anything like that. Sorry. Anything like that. And you don't know what it's going to do. It didn't seem aggressive. It wasn't doing anything like trying to get into anything or do anything. And I'm thinking, I'm just going to let it go about its business. And maybe it hadn't seen me. So I just laid myself back and I listened to it for a while. I listened to it walk off. But then when I couldn't hear it anymore, it was kind of like an adrenaline dump. I just completely just passed out. It was like I was done. I was already totally exhausted from the day. And then when I heard that thing go off, its own direction, I thought, okay, I'm all right. And I just laid down and went to sleep. But I woke up probably, 3 hours later, the sun had come up. It was about 3 or 4 hours later, probably 3 hours later. And I was just leaning up and opening the door and I could hear people talking all around me. And as I'm opening the door, they're like, wait, don't move. We had a visitor last night. And I said, I know, I saw it. Mm-hmm. So, the story went from there. And as we were out there, we had aerial photos, we had footage, we had footprints, we had the whole trip it took around the camp. We had trackers out there finding it. We had David Perez from the Bigfoot Times out there, and he was doing the whole interview thing. I mean, we couldn't have been at a better spot at a better time to have a sighting. Absolutely. So, when they were doing the interview and everything, they were like, well, how do you know it was 6'5"? I said, well, my brother's 6'5". And I kind of gauged it off of that. I've been looking at him my whole life. And sure enough, it was about 6'7", 6'8" is when we measured it out to the 10, and then we measured it out, of course, from my car into where it was. And I mean, we've got video footage of the path it had taken, and the footprints were about 13 to 14 inches in length, I would say. And they were just all over. You could watch its whole path just walking around the whole camp. Yep. So, yeah, it was a very crazy and unique experience
It was a crazy
because
morning.
I got such a long look at it. And then, like I said, with all the people we had out there, with all these experienced trackers and investigators and all this other kind of stuff, we couldn't have been at a better place at a better time. And
Right.
as we were discussing the whole thing, more people started to come out and talking about the timeline of when they heard something and this, that, and the other. So there was probably about 12 or 13 of us, Krista, that had an experience with this same thing walking around, and all of our timelines are matching. So it was just fantastic. We had so many people who could validate the experience that it was kind of like a once in a lifetime type thing.
Yeah. It was pretty incredible, really.
Now, maybe I missed, how close were you to this?
About 20 feet.
Holy cow. So you're getting a great view of this thing.
Yeah, like I said, the moon was on its backside, so it was creating a shadow in front of it. So I couldn't see the full-on features, but I definitely could see like the hair, the arms. The only problem is this is what makes me so mad, is it was standing just at the kitty corner of the tent, and the grass was really high back there. I couldn't see its feet. And you're like, well, when you see Bigfoot, you want to see its feet. That's what you want to see, is its feet. And that's what I giggled about the whole next day. I was like, I couldn't see its feet.
Right.
But I couldn't tell, like I said, if it was male or female, just because the way the moon was shining, and it was very bright out there, that when the moon was coming down on its back, you couldn't see its face, but you can definitely see the size. You could see the hair on it. You could see definitely the long arms that it had. It was just a fantastic view. Fantastic.
At any time were you scared of it? Like, I know you get that. I know the fear. Okay. But I'm saying, any time did you feel that you were in danger?
I don't think I did until after. Until after the fact, because that's when I realized that this thing could have jerked me out of that car in no time flat, and I'd have been gone, and they'd have never found me. That never. And the funny thing is when I thought it was a bear, we got to talking the next day, and they were telling us that there are bears in the area, but they track those bears. They are tagged and tracked. And for some reason, that particular property, they skirt it, but they never go in it. They have never been tracked on that property. They've been tracked all over the properties around it, but not that one.
Interesting.
So that was very interesting to me also.
I can totally see where that would be interesting. It's a scary thing when you're being tracked and stalked.
Absolutely.
Yes. But I heard the footsteps outside my car. I literally thought it was one of the girls out there. And, I was kind of mad at first, because I'm like, what are they doing out of the tent? They shouldn't be out of the tent without somebody with them, because that's our thing. Somebody has to be around. We always do that. And it wasn't one of the ladies. It just wasn't one of them. It's like, surprise. But when I had that experience, it changes you. Now, I had one previous to that, and it was with Tex Wesson, and we were in Brown Springs. It was at a distance, and I seen it walking, and that was quite a thing, but it was so far away that it almost didn't seem real to me. It almost didn't seem real. So I always questioned myself, well, was it that? We were in a cemetery. Could it have been a spirit of some sort? Could it have been this or that? Even though Tex was standing there going, there's a Bigfoot, and I just questioned it. And then when I had the second experience, the second encounter, that's when it all hit home. And I questioned myself, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to be one of those people, we always talk about it, that come out and tell their story. And then you have all kinds of people out there who are skeptics and say, oh, it was something else. You saw something else. You didn't see what you wanted, what you thought you saw. But I'm here to tell you today, Bigfoot is real. Bigfoot is out there. I saw it. And that's all I can say.
Yep.
I absolutely love it. We got time for a few questions. And let's get right to them, right to the audience. All right. Let's go to Riley here, who is asking, what's your scary? Well, we actually answered that with your scariest paranormal encrypted encounters. Sorry, Riley.
Right.
Go to Cat Chaser. What will you do if you meet Bigfoot again?
I don't know. I don't know because it was such a profound moment. I don't know if I will be dumbstruck again. I could have done a lot of things, but I did nothing because I was just staring at it. And that's probably what will happen next again is I'll just stare at it. Because it's something to behold for sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move to another one. Let's go back to Riley. Who gives you more of a chance to survive? Bigfoot, Dogman, Wendigo, or Moose Man? I'm going with Bigfoot on that one.
I'm going with Bigfoot too, for sure.
I am too. I'm going to say, well, Dogman and Wendigo, I don't think we stand a chance. But my first choice would be definitely Sasquatch. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, mine too. All right, let's continue on here. Let's go to Helena. Do cats keep ghosts away?
I don't know if they really keep them away. I think all animals are more open, to the other side and can see more so of what, that more than what we can see. So I don't know about keeping them away because, I know Brandi has a cat. She has a ghost. So.
Yeah, and my cat sees it, and my cat doesn't like it. But I also have like 2 dogs, and they're little wiener dogs, and I call them my old men because they're very old, and they could care less. They don't even care. I mean, a spirit could walk right in front of them and pick them up and pet them, and they would just say okay. But the cat, on the other hand, does not care for spirits at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That is interesting. All right, let's move on here. Let's go to Vanessa. What do y'all think about these things? Maybe you've seen this video. I just saw it the other day about that thing in the tree that was literally ripping the tree down from inside. You saw this giant tree just going absolutely haywire behind the house. Did you see that video in South Carolina?
I have not.
I have seen some of it. And whatever it was, I tell you what, I would be a little bit freaked out. I'd be a little scared of that because that thing was shaking that tree. It had strength to it. I have no idea what it was, but that would be something that I would definitely be concerned about.
Yep.
Oh, that one scared the hell out of me.
Mm-hmm.
Scared the hell out of me.
I think I would have to make sure that I have some sort of protection with me in that area for sure.
Yep.
I would totally agree with that. Totally agree with that. I would not be too how can I put it? I would not be too brave to walk up there.
No.
Right. I wouldn't be out there alone either.
No,
me either, my friend. Let's go to another question here. Let's go to Cat Chaser again. What would you do if you came face to face with Bigfoot? We already asked that. No offense. Riley is asking, is there any way to differentiate between a ghost and a demon?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, there's a lot of things that you can do. A demonic entity, they have ungodly strength where your typical ghost does not. That's one thing. So, when that demonic case that we did do, when he had talked about how he was thrown across the room, well, that's kind of a red flag right there. There's a lot of things, though, that you can do to check to see if it's a human entity or a demonic entity, though.
Yeah, there are times where there are ghosts that are just nasty. They're just nasty, and you do have to do some of those tests to figure out whether you're dealing with something that was human before, or are we really dealing with a demon? So, I mean, you do have to do the tests.
Right.
What is the test?
I mean, you can even use holy water, I've seen it where, at that particular house, actually, we had some holy water, and we asked her to drink it, and she refused, like she wasn't going to do it. And so that's a good test. A lot of times you can trick them too. I mean, the demonic, they know everything about you and what you're trying to do. But I have heard of people like trick someone, here, take a drink of water and it's got holy water or whatever in it. And I personally haven't seen it done, but I've heard of people doing it, and if they throat hurts or they just can't do it, or even one.
Right. It kind of goes like the same thing for like a trickster or like a ghost, should I say, is like you put down regular water and they say they're burning. Well, they're not really burning. They're just trying to pull one on you, thinking they want you to think that they're tougher than what they really are. And just the questions you ask sometimes, you can ask them a lot of questions about the afterlife, or you can ask them about certain demons or things like this. And if they don't have answers, then sometimes you're dealing with a human spirit.
Or even ask them to pray with you.
Yeah, that too. That too. Just little things. Just little things. And normally, if it's just a cranky ghost, they'll kind of calm down after you start praying. They stop messing with you a little bit. A demon will keep and continue until they lose their strength. So, it's just the little things. But like I said, well, like Krista said, demons are few and far between. Few and far between. You're not gonna run up against a demon. It's very rare. You are more likely to run up against a grumpy, nasty ghost versus a demon. And that's agree. Somebody probably don't want on your property. But it's like, you get out of my house, that sort of thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
For sure. For sure. I totally get that. Totally get that. All right, let's move on. I think we have time for maybe one more. Yeah, we'll go to Riley again. Your opinion on dogman, flesh and blood creature, or something paranormal, combination of both, made in a lab? Your thoughts?
Brandi, you go ahead.
This, because the dogman is controversial for me, because I've always believed in werewolves. Before dogman was coined, it was always werewolf to me, always. And I think they're flesh and blood. I don't, and a little bit of paranormal. I don't know about made in a lab or anything. I haven't found any evidence or any reports that could point me in that direction that would make me think that. It's all theory from right now, but dogman, I'm gonna say that's the cryptid I don't want to run into. That's the one I don't want to run into right there. So,
I agree with you on that.
I do think it's more flesh and blood. Yes.
Ladies, I want to say a big thank you for coming on Spaced Out Radio tonight. Had a blast with you guys.
Absolutely.
Let's meet again. All right.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yes, absolutely.
Brandi and Krista from Blondes and Boos Podcast. You can find them online. Coming up next, Swamp Dweller. Then Extra Small and Jax are here for the Cryptid Report. Hour 3 is next.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
Ladies, you were amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
That was so much fun.
It was
Well,
definitely.
good. We need to do it more often.
Yes.
All right. Take care.
Thanks.
All
New
right.
Year to you.
Mhm.
See you in
All right.
2024 when I'm your guest in 2026. So
We'll have you on real soon.
take care, ladies.
See ya.
All right. We'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, Brandi and Krista. Love them. Love them. Hi, Robert Redmond. How you doing? Daryl Stanley. Welcome to SOR Chat. Everybody else, I'm going to take a quick break here. Be right back for hour 3. All right, I'm back. Hello, Jackie. All right. Let's have some fun here. Let's see here. Are you hearing the beeping sound? Was the camera being messed with? Oh, cool. Not surprising. Not surprising. Hello, Jackie. Extra small, how you doing? Try unmuting yourselves.
Hello, Davey. I kept popping up on the screen while you were gone.
Well, it's probably because Lee was fucking with you.
I wasn't doing shit.
Well, apparently my camera was doing weird stuff too. It's not surprising. Big thank you tonight to Bigfoot Rob, Big Tex, Donnie Cho, T2E, Cat Chaser, Deborah Rooney, Richard. Thank you for the love and support. We're going to get going here in 3 seconds. Here we go with the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. Always appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Harryolite. Harryolite is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Let's head to the swamp.
Hello and welcome to Spaced Out Radio's Swamp. I'm Swamp Dweller, and tonight I'm going to take you on a mystic journey of the unknown, sharing tales of monsters, legends, and nightmares. Welcome to the Spaced Out Radio Swamp. It was the early 1980s. I was a 16-year-old female, 5'6", 117 pounds then. This takes place in New Jersey in a horrible area. I would often take buses to go to school or meet with friends. I knew to avoid one bus stop, but this was around 6 p.m. in the spring, and this bus stop would get me closest to my place. I get on the bus with a large group of people. I wait in line and everything is fine. After about 20 minutes, the bus starts to clear out. I notice a substantial, scary man. He's approximately 6'4" and looks about 280 to 300 pounds. He looked at everyone intensely and would move to different seats over the bus. He moved across from me and was staring at me with a blank look in his eye. I felt uncomfortable, and I had a horrible feeling. He then moved to another seat and soon returned to the exact seat staring at me once more. I could tell he was not mentally right, but he looked clean and dressed appropriately. He was also looking at someone behind me. I kept staring ahead. The first lesson everyone in my neighborhood learns is don't make eye contact because many assume it's an aggressive move. I'm getting closer to my house, maybe 4 blocks away, and then it happens. The big scary guy gets up and goes behind me, and I hear a scream. I turn around and he's holding out a straight razor, the kind that is used at a barber shop. I stare with eyes wide open and not sure what to do. He slashed at the guy's throat in the back of me. The guy grabs his throat, jumps up, and runs off the bus. I'm thinking, oh crap. Slasher films like Friday the 13th were significant in the 80s, and I'm thinking I'm about to be next. Someone pulls the cord to signal that we have to get off the bus. You know, that emergency brake thing. The crazy guy, still holding the razor, calmly walks to the front of the bus and sits down. I run off the bus using the back door with everyone else on the bus. I'm yelling, screaming, freaking out, asking people if they saw what I saw. The other 2 people say they did. I was a block away from my house at this point and I just ran home. I don't know what happened to the bus driver, and I never saw much about it on the news or in the paper. I didn't call the police because I just didn't think it was my job. It's just not something we did where I'm from. I know now that something could have happened to that bus driver. I have more scary stories, but never realized what a messed up area I lived in until I thought back on them.
Thank you, Swamp Dweller, for another weird, strange story. If you want more, head to his YouTube channel, Swamp Dweller, and listen to thousands of them. He's got them right there, all downloaded for you for free. From the swamp to the cryptids, here comes Jackie Harmon and the Cryptid Report.
Oh, hello, Jackie.
Jackie Harmon, and we're joined by extra small Lee Strauss. Thank you for coming on tonight. Very much appreciated.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Now, I have to say I did something funny earlier because for our radio audience, if you haven't been to our YouTube channel, Lee and Jackie host a show called Element 115 once a week. And they didn't expect me. They were doing trivia with our audience, SOR trivia with our audience members tonight. And Lee asked a question and they didn't notice that I'd snuck into their studio. And Lee asked a question about our music man. Who is our music man? And I quickly popped up on screen and yelled Bumblefoot and then popped back out. Scared the It was awesome.
It was awesome and it was perfect.
Yeah, it was. We had so much fun. We were so glad you did that. It was a
We're
lot
going
of
to
fun.
take tonight because this is the last time we will talk in 2014 or 2024. And
Yeah.
we're going into 2025, which both of you will still be here, which is cool.
Hopefully.
Okay, but let's talk about 2024, for instance. I mean, you had an amazing encounter, guys, what we've talked a lot about
Yeah, we have.
Yep.
at Mount Adams in
did.
Washington State, where literally a pervert Bigfoot was groping Jackie in the tent.
We got assaulted.
Jackie was in the tent. The Bigfoot was not. He was on the outside. I had my encounter at Flight 21.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we could talk for hours upon hours on just those two stories. But Jackie, let's start with you. In 2024, outside of those stories, what really caught you or caught your attention in the Bigfoot cryptid world?
You know, there was actually a story that I recently heard, and it was someone who actually lives in my town that came into a shop that I actually work in and was telling me about something. And I wanted to share that a little bit with you guys because it was a really strange story. And it reminded me of something that happened to me when I was younger, but it happened to this woman in 2024. And what happened to her was she was actually hiking, and she actually was just like on her everyday normal hike up here where we live, which is strange because you don't get a whole lot of like, you know, Bigfoot or cryptid stories, not too close to where I live at home. And she said out of some, just in the middle of the day, she felt something kind of following her around. And this is what stuck out in my mind because I remember feeling the exact same thing at times over the years. But what specifically really stuck out was what happened to her was so strange that it reminded me so much of something that happened to me when I was probably about 8 years old. And she said she was just on, like I said, this normal. Now it was getting a little bit darker and she was starting to feel like maybe it was time to go home. But she thought, well, I'm just going to go a little bit further before I take off. But something kept following her. She kept hearing something. And before she realized it, she was like, you know, really being watched or something was there. Something grabbed her by the throat and lifted her up really high up. But she said it was just as if it was behind her, but she could see the hand and she knew it wasn't a normal human hand. and it just literally picked her up off the ground and kind of leaned her back against a tree, but it was still behind her. And she said it scared her out of her mind of what in the world could be grabbing her. She didn't know what to think, how to feel. And it was just like, what is this? I mean, I've never experienced anything like this. And this is about we're talking about something here in Southern California area. You don't hear a lot of Bigfoot stories in our area. But she said it had the size of a hand of like a Bigfoot, and it smelled horrible. But that's the one story that really stuck out to me because it was someone who approached me. They knew what I do, what I do. And we had talked before, and she said she never really believed in anything. And she had to come back in the store and tell me about it. And I just thought that is unbelievable. Not unbelievable the fact that I don't believe her, but it's just the fact that it she would have this experience so close to home. And she remembered talking to me about, like, I had actually, shared an experience with her. And I didn't even share the experience we had in Mount Adams. It was a totally different experience I had shared with her. And she remembered me. And she came back and found me and wanted to come share that story with me. And she said eventually it finally just let her go and walked off. She said she was so startled, she couldn't even turn around to look at it. She was just paralyzed in fear. And she said it took her probably a good 10 minutes of standing there, not wanting to turn around before she got the guts to actually walk away, which I'm pretty sure she probably ran. but she was frightened. And I ended up sharing with her about, some other things that I had been through. But it did remind me of the fear, like how I felt and the PTSD that I still feel to this day about it. So, it's something that a lot of people are dealing with and you just don't expect it. But that's what really stuck out in my mind of the year was how you share your stories and then other people will find you and reach back out to you and say, hey, this is what happened to me. So, I just thought that was really special of her to come and like find me because she knew I would believe her. And I wanted to share that with you guys.
One of the things that I noticed with a lot of people that I haven't had, at least I don't think I have had the experience of yet, is the smell of Sasquatch.
Yeah.
Now, we had an incident in one of our hunting areas this year where my buddy Phil and we were walking down a path and all of a sudden we had the skunk smell. And it was only in one location. But I don't know if it was a skunk or something else. Now, if it was a skunk, it stayed in pretty much the same spot, whether it was maybe deceased or maybe it was in the area and wanted to let us know that it was there as security. I don't know, but I do know that it was different. It was just weird to all of a sudden come across that skunk smell, but never saw anything, didn't get any weird feelings. I mean, when you're in the forest, you're always feeling like you're being watched because you are by something in the forest is always watching.
Agreed.
But in other areas where I've had encounters with Sasquatch, I've never had the odor ever. Have you?
It's funny for me because I feel the exact same way you do. It's often you smell the smell, but you don't see anything. Or maybe you see something and you smell nothing. Or you have an experience like, say, I had where I would say you couldn't get any closer by literally touching me and no smell. I mean, I didn't even hear it approach, move, walk away, nothing. I just felt it and heard it. And that's it. But so I can honestly say, I don't think in all the 50 years I've been doing this, have I ever had the two together where you see it and smell it. Now, I will smell skunk but I always assume it's a skunk because I have had the weird smell of the skunk, the BO, it smells like death, horrible, like, rancid animal or something. And it's a horrific smell. But to just smell skunk itself, I usually just tell myself there's a skunk in the area because the horrible smell I have smelled was so much worse than that I think now that's what I associate the really, really rank smell to be, is like when it's closer than you realize and it's probably watching you, but you can't see it.
How about you, Lee? What's your thoughts?
Well, with that, I'll take you to a location called Skycomish, Washington, and up to a river basin that is called the Foss River. And I hike there quite often, and I have smelt that smell there. Not seen anything, just like you're saying, Jackie, but that rank, musk, dead smell, rotten, like rotten flesh smell on the trail from time to time. And I have been paced by something in the brush that I cannot see, but I can hear it walking as I walk. It stops when I stop, and it continues when I continue. You know it's there. It's just out of sight. It never has been aggressive in any way, but several times in that location, it has been there.
What goes through your mind when you're having that situation, Lee?
Well, it's a little bit unnerving, Dave, really. I like that spot going up to the Necklace Valley, and up again to Tank Lakes. I love that area. It's beautiful. It's unsurpassed, really. The thought in my mind when that is going on is like, okay, stop, listen, move, stop, listen, watch, grab my gun, make sure I've got it here in front of me so that if something does come through the brush, that I'm ready for it. It's a little unnerving, and I just hope to get past that area as fast as I can. It's about probably a half a mile stretch where this has happened several times. So it seems to me that it's not just me, but I think it would be other hikers as well, that it would just pace them and watch them and pay attention. It's like it's interested in what's going on. It's interested in the people that are passing by.
Yeah. Another smell I forgot to mention too, that I've smelled before multiple times that I can't stand, is that wet dog smell. And it is just so rank. It's just like, I don't have animals. So when you're not around animals and you just smell that so strongly, and you just realize like there's something nearby with severely wet fur or hair, and it's such a distinct smell, and I don't even have animals, but it's just like a combination of everything you can imagine. I will never forget one time my dad and I could smell like rotten apples. And it was such a distinct new smell for us. And I thought, where's that coming from? We were nowhere near an area where there could be like fruit on the ground or anything like that. So that was a really new smell for us. And it was horrific. It was so gross. I was gagging. It was awful.
Do you think that is a protective odor, or it is like a skunk would use that smell, their spray, as a protectant? Or do you think it is a warning sign? What do you think it is, Jackie?
Well, for me, the only times I've ever really smelled it is at times when I feel probably my most uncomfortable. So I would have to say it probably does have something to do with maybe warning people off, putting that scent out for, don't come any closer. We don't want you here. You don't belong here. I think it is a warning of just, this is our home. You've come too close. And people don't like that smell. And I think they realize it. And I do feel like it's a defense mechanism with how they put it out to get you away from them. I really do feel that way because I've never actually had the experience of having the smell and getting close enough to see one. Or maybe it's there and I don't see it. And I very much believe in cloaking. I think that Lee and I had a perfect example of cloaking when we saw one standing near a tree and all of a sudden it was just gone. So yeah, I definitely feel like it has something to do with the warning. You're just too close, get away from us. Maybe we're getting too close to a family. Maybe it's, that's their way of pushing you back.
So weird.
It is weird.
So weird. Lee, what's your thoughts on the odor? The reason why?
I think, really, Dave, I think it's just showing its dominance by such a horrific smell. I think that it, for some reason, is able to project it out in a way. I'm not really sure how they do that, but for something to smell that bad, it's almost like, yeah, I'm the big thing in the forest. Don't mess with me. I think it's like just showing its stature in the area.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, the one thing, because I believe this creature is very smart. I know you two do as well. And I believe that it probably is some sort of warning mechanism, even though I haven't smelled it. Doesn't mean it doesn't happen. I've interviewed so many
Yeah.
people who have over the years, had that odorous, pungent, skunk-like smell around them, but knowing that Sasquatch is a watcher and it watches you, and because I do believe that it is a very curious creature, and until you piss it off,
Right.
but with that, it would have learned a lot of the tendencies of watching different people. Much like if we're watching deer, I could tell you with the deer in my yard, the ones that know my voice and the ones that don't know my voice. They're smart. And
Very smart.
I think, when you have Sasquatch being in hunting areas, because most of them are in a hunting area, or where they've heard the sound of pointy sticks being fired, where they've seen people camping and they've seen people chopping down trees. They don't know what an axe is, but they know an axe is danger. If they see it knocking down a tree, they're going to be like, holy cow, what is that thing that's doing that?
Yep.
So I think a lot of them maybe get instilled with a healthy fear of humans. Curiosity, especially if you have humans who could tune into them, but that curiosity is still, I mean, they're forest lurkers. We don't know if they're flesh and blood or anything like that, but we know they're forest lurkers, and they're obviously watching people. So I think that goes a long way in trying to describe, why they would put that scent up, or, for that either. I keep hearing a voice, male voice when I'm speaking. It's twice I've heard it. I don't know. Maybe it's the aliens. Weird. Jackson Lee, continue with the Cryptid Report right after this on Spaced Out Radio.
This is Spaced Out Radio, and your host, Dave Scott.
Tell me, Dave, that you don't work tomorrow.
What's that?
I said, tell me, Dave, that you don't work tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You need some time off, brother.
Trust me, it's coming. It's coming. Bob Gray, how are you?
Jax, you're probably going to want to tell that other cryptid story too that you told me earlier today. I think that's of interest. About the green guy.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll get into that right now. Shh. I'm giving full credit to the pointy sticks for Joe Monk making up that term about 9 years ago. I love that term, pointy sticks.
It's perfect.
Jax, your hair's looking good tonight.
Oh, I combed it.
About time.
It's a Christmas special for you guys.
Aw, isn't that nice?
I was laying on the couch earlier because I had a headache, so I got up and I thought I'd comb it out for you.
Oh, isn't that nice? Isn't that nice?
It's because I love you guys.
1 second here. Where did she put it? There?
Christmas special. Yeah, just about.
You guys are sweet.
So for everybody listening, it's likely I'm going to be attending UFOCon 2025. It'll either be March 21st to 23rd or April 4th to 6th. Don't know yet. Find out in about a week. But it looks like I'm heading to San Francisco.
Nice.
Yeah. San Francisco, Nebraska, and Vegas, all within a few weeks of each other. So if you're in the San Francisco area and want to come hang out with me, just do it. Just do it.
Oops.
That's a good thing to talk about too, about the different shows that we're going to be at. That's awesome.
You know, want to know something funny?
Yeah.
You know, I always come on here and my hair is like straight. Sometimes I curl it too, but I actually have naturally curly, wavy hair, and people don't realize it because I always like blow dry it out. But somebody was just asking me how you get your hair like that.
You're a
I
flat
don't
iron.
flat iron my hair. I actually own it's a brush blow dryer, and that's all I use. I put a little bit of chi, silk infusion, as long as you don't touch the roots, and that's it. I blow dry it out. But yeah, I have naturally like wavy curly hair, and a lot of people don't know that.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. We got about a minute to go here. You know, I was looking. Lee, I have to add your logo to the story yet.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I'll get to that this weekend. But I was looking at our stuff on our website.
Uh-huh.
We do have great swag.
You absolutely do. Absolutely.
We do. Not even bragging.
Oh,
but we honestly have great swag. I wanted to add a couple pieces to my own wear today. And I was looking at them and I'm like, fuck, this is nice stuff. It's no ugly swag, Flat Six. No ugly swag.
Not only is it look good, Dave, but it's quality too. I mean, the 2 t-shirts that I got, that's thick. That is some thick, durable material.
Yeah, just like Dave's gut. Thick. All right, here we go, everybody. Here we go with the final half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us as we continue the Cryptid Report with Jackie Harmon and extra small Lee Strauss. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you very much for joining us. We very, very much appreciate earning your listening ears. Reminder, if you've missed most of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to YouTube or any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Here we go, Jackie Harmon, extra small Lee Strauss. They are here for the Cryptid Report, and we're looking back at 2024, the weird, strange stories that really stuck out with us. Jackie, you have a weird one to tell us.
Well, I actually have a story that is from my childhood that I grew up with. It kind of reminds me of Christmas because it reminds me of my dad, and I wanted to share it with you guys. So when I was very, very young, we traveled around the entire country every single year. My dad would literally put my sister and I and my mom in the car, and we'd travel all over the country every year. And every single mountain area, my dad had a specific cryptid that lived in every single one of those areas. And it was the same cryptid year after year after year. And there was this one mountain specifically here in California that I grew up with. Like I said, I was very, very young, probably 3, 4, 5. And this specific cryptid was called the Green Weenie. And I will never forget this cryptid because my dad had me frightened out of my mind about this creature. And what really brought this whole actual story on is that Lee actually just bought something for his studio, and he had been looking for a specific name for this actual cryptid that he has in his studio. He'll have to share it with you. But this was something really funny that stayed with me my entire life until I had children. And then I remember driving past that exact same mountain, and I will never forget the first time telling my kids, "Oh my God, do you know who lives in that mountains?" And they'd be like, "Oh my God, who?" And I said, "Well, that's the Green Weenie." Of course, you have to make it sound like it's this bigger than life creature that doesn't even exist. But, you know, as an adult, it's funny now. But as a child, I was scared out of my mind that this thing was going to come out of the mountain, run down the mountain, grab me out of the car, and eat me alive. And now, you know, I think it's hilarious as an adult. But Lee needs to share exactly why we talked about that. He was trying to come up with a name for his cryptid.
Well, he's not really a cryptid. He's, basically a green alien back behind me. So, but that is his name from now on. It is the Green Weenie. So just like you got Blobbert that comes on, Blob the cat, I have the Green Weenie behind me.
I like it.
I got a new name now. That alien, I don't know if you've seen it in pictures, but its head and hands, I don't know if it's arms but it's actually coming out of the wall. And I was just telling Lee this morning, we were talking about this, and I said, you know, you're brave, because I can be honest with you, with our experience that we had at Mount Adams, there is no way on God's green earth I could have a actual Bigfoot arms, hands, and head that looked real coming out of my wall. It would scare me out of I would literally be crawling out of my skin if I had to see that.
Yeah. Well,
I'm not kidding.
I'm right there with you on that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It would affect me
absolutely.
hardcore.
And that thing that's back there terrifies me. It brings me right back to some things that I dealt with. And yeah.
Yeah.
When I was being fast tracked into all of this, one of the things that happened to me was the story of Carl, where I saw the alien at the window.
Mhm.
I've had so many coincidences with people who've been allegedly caught for lying, cheating in this field
Mhm.
that have happened to me. It's like, I don't know. I mean, there's the Stan Romanek film of him having the alien at the window. And I was like, it's just like what Carl was. Right? I mean, we
Yeah.
see a lot of coincidences like that. It's like they do it to
Yeah.
one person, and then they'll do it to others to say, well, hold on a second here. That maybe that's not fake.
Mhm.
He may have got it on video, but the majority of us weren't prepared for it. We don't have cameras set up at our window.
Exactly. Exactly.
I was just having this exact same conversation with Lee about how we go through experiences,
Mhm.
and you're going to have that experience till the day you die, knowing that you went through that. Maybe people believe you, maybe they don't, but they'll never truly know your experience.
Oh, very
Yeah.
true. Very
Nobody
true.
nobody can be in your shoes when you have an experience like that. So your best bet is to share it with other people, because there's other people like us in the audience that have gone through some of these experiences and don't know who to talk to about them.
Mhm.
And it's nice to know that there are people like us and other people out there that have had these experiences that and we're open to talk to them about it.
Mhm.
I would agree. I mean, 2024 is going to be known as the year of the UFO/UAP. We know that. It's been like that since 2017, where cryptids have become a distant second, and I would say paranormal has fallen down to third on the list of everything.
Mhm. Agreed.
Mhm.
Do we see a time when UFOs, Lee, start to calm down and maybe cryptids start to pick it back up again, or the paranormal?
It'll be a while, I think, before we see cryptids come back into the mainframe here. We're going to see more of the activity that we've been seeing lately with the orbs and that sort of thing for quite a while, I think. And not just the orbs, but also the drones that we've been seeing from that may be government type drones for a while before things start to calm down. I mean, people are already saying, oh, I'm tired of it. Let's find something else to think about. I think there's something different with cryptids. It's almost like they have something magical about them, and something earthly and magical about them. It's not something that's held in space or from another planet. This is something that's here right now, and I think for people there's a mystique about that, and the fact that they could just disappear from view, or you'll find one footprint or two footprints and then there's nothing. It's something magical that grabs people about that. And it's different. It's definitely different than UFOs and that sort of thing.
I agree with you. And, I don't think there is much to disagree with there, Jackie.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for me, I kind of look at things a little bit differently. You guys know my story. You know how I very much grew up in the paranormal. The paranormal was just a part of me my whole life. That's not the norm for most people. For me, I kind of saw as the years went on, and it actually took me a really, really long time to come out to people that the paranormal was a part of my life. I was in my 30s before I really started sharing myself and my experiences with others. I am 54 now. So, we're looking at like 24 years of me literally sharing my whole life experiences. I saw kind of like the it thing in the moment of time of like where, say, back in 2008, 2010, when ghost hunters became the big thing and ghost adventures. So paranormal was ghost hunting. That was the thing. That was, everybody was into ghost hunting at the time. And as time goes on and you get these new shows out, I think those things start to become the more in thing as well, like the Bigfoot shows, then more things about UFOs and all these different shows. So I really do feel like it has a lot to do with what's going on TV that really kind of pulls us to what people are into at the moment. So it's a perfect example of like, the UAP or the UFO or whatever people want to call it, the orbs. I kind of feel like it's what's going on TV and what's happening in the world at the moment. So when that dies down and the next new thing comes up, everyone's going to be into that next.
Yeah, and I would agree with you. And I think, like we even look at the drone situation right now, which has really taken over the last couple of months here of 2024. And isn't it amazing how the drones just started to die down right around the Christmas holidays? The sightings, yes, they're still happening, but they're just not as much anymore. And they don't know, allegedly, why they are starting to disappear. Well, it coincides with government holidays for government employees. Let's just be honest there.
Yeah.
It's
That makes
weird.
a lot of sense.
Lee, what's your thoughts of this whole drone flap?
Well, my thought, Dave, is you've got orbs, that are not government controlled or government owned, which come from somewhere else. And then you've got the government that's got all this tech, that they want to deploy out there to whitewash the fact that there's actually something going on. We're very close to a war right now. And I think another species from another planet is very interested in what's going on with that. As we've had sightings over military bases, many, some even shutting down, nuclear warheads. And not only that, in Russia, turning them on and basically then shutting them off right before they launch. So there's things like that going on. I don't think they want to see a nuclear war. So right now they might be poking around, looking around, watching what's going on, and maybe hopefully disarming things if things go south. You know what I mean? And I think our government's like, hey, we can't let the public know that this is actually happening. We need to whitewash this in some way. So let's send out the drones that we have out into the sky wherever we can, wherever we have these drones, from whatever military base, to whitewash this whole thing, because we can't let the public know that there's actually somebody visiting from another planet or from another civilization.
Do you think there is a mixture then of UFOs and American drones?
I would say it's probably not just American drones. It's probably a lot of nations that are throwing their drones up right now. But yes, I think it's probably 10% not human, and then the rest are probably 90% are definitely government controlled in some way.
What's your thoughts, Jax?
I totally disagree. I feel like it's completely our government, 100%. I think they are behind this entire thing, orbs and all. They absolutely do have the ability to put things out there for our distraction. I think what's going on right now, the orbs are a massive distraction from the drones. They are looking for something. The military very much knows what's going on. And I think it's just going to die down when they find what they're looking for. And that's it. And they're going to have some crazy story. It's a distraction for some other bigger situation. And I think that's exactly what the orbs are. I think they're 100% us. And, there's just, that's it. I mean, that's just how I feel. You know, there's just too much of them not getting involved for it to not be that. I live around 3 bases. I see them. My daughter and I have seen them twice. And, the fact that they aren't doing anything to take it down just makes me feel like they're 100% behind it.
I would agree with you on that.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I will say about this, and there's a great debate about UFO versus drone versus UAP right now.
Mhm.
Okay, one of the things that I would say to that is real experiencers, real deep experiencers. At least, and this is my opinion. Okay, not trying to sound like a jerk or anything, because I feel I need to add a caveat to that. But real experiencers get like an energy signature from those craft. When they look up in the sky, they could say that's a satellite. That is something completely different. I could feel it.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And because of my experiences, I've been able to decipher that. And I've talked to other experiencers and researchers about this, that experiencers can tell. They just have this real true feeling of picking up that whatever it is energy. And when I look at these drones, there's nothing that I see there or feel there that says this is UFO.
Mhm.
This is everything I look at with the drones. It all seems human tech to me. And that's what it feels like. And
Yeah.
and look, I could be 100% wrong. I don't think I am, but I could be 100% wrong on this, right? So,
Mhm.
Michael Morris in our chat room, who is from New Jersey, he says, all of a sudden, there are no drone sightings since the state banned private-owned drones from flying. And that's what we had been telling people. It was clickbait. It
Yeah.
was for, a lot of this was for YouTube, TikTok. How many viewers can I get?
Mhm.
Because you got to realize, for every 100,000 views on YouTube, you make $50, or 10,000 views on YouTube, you make $50. All of a sudden, you hit a million views on one of these videos, you could make anywhere from 4 to 10 grand, right? So, I mean, it just feels like it's human. It really has.
I would say it does to a point. Once the plasma, though, I can't. It looks sentient. It's acting sentient. But all the other, it feels mechanical. Like a lot of it feels mechanical to me.
And that's the big one. That's the big one. And look, I expect people to disagree with me. I don't mind whatsoever. I'm not saying that all of them are human. Okay, there's been a couple of videos that popped up recently that have it's boggled my mind. And I'm like, that one is something completely different. And we also know when there's a buzz in the sky, there always seems to be UFOs around that buzz in the sky.
Mhm.
Okay, so I'm not saying all of them. I'm saying for the majority of videos that I have personally seen, they do not look like UFOs.
That's correct. Yep.
And the other thing we have to remember too is the majority of people who are looking for those drones, they're looking up. Most of them can't tell a drone from a helicopter from a 737 flying in the distance heading towards Newark Airport.
Exactly.
Yeah. I agree with that.
And if you want to add another caveat to that, very few, if any, were seen during daytime.
Yep.
Now, the real UFO woo people, which I'm proud to be a part of,
Yeah.
a lot of them will say, well, that's because they were cloaking themselves during the day.
I've heard that as well. My daughter and I, she's only 11. We were driving home like maybe a couple weeks ago. This is after I'd already I was with my daughter. We actually saw it together twice. The first drone was identical to what everybody else is seeing, just really large, like a car. I'd say about the size of my car, and I drive a Jeep, and had the lights and the whole bit. So we saw that, followed it all the way home for about an hour, and then about maybe a week, maybe not even a week, but about a week later, there's a mountain right next to my house. Like I could be on the mountain in about less than a minute and be, walking up the mountain. And she saw another one. I looked up and saw it go over the mountain, and she watched it go over. But we had them in our neighborhood, in our town, for I'd say at least a couple weeks before they finally went away. And we haven't seen anything since. Nothing. Haven't heard anything about it. Haven't seen anything. They just disappeared, like you said.
And on that note, Extra Small Lee Strauss, Jackie Harmon, Element 115 on Spaced Out Radio's YouTube channel. Thank you for a great night of radio tonight. As we say goodnight to them, and hello to Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Ball. Rocking in the background when Little Brother is watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio. Rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at work, at home, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat room tonight. YouTube, Twitch, LGAP, Facebook, Spreaker, LinkedIn, Space Travelers Club, and on X at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. I know you're out there somewhere. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends, we're watching. We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo train has docked for the night, but soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night, everybody. There we go. Pop goes the world, people. Pop goes the world. Do.
Jackie and I don't tend to disagree with each other on things. I mean, I don't think it's ever happened, but on this drone thing, yeah, we do disagree.
Okay, we'll survive.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Well, Lee, I'm just going to tell you, you know what? Step into my office. You're fucking fired.
Love it.
I'll be in the back signing autographs.
Yeah, you
That's
will.
right. Jackie signing autographs. Lee, pack up your desk. You're out of here. Yeah. Skip to Malou, how are you? Mike Bothwell, good to see you. Oh man, what a fun
And
show.
on that note, Happy New Year.
Yeah. Lee, I'm just forewarning you, you're not allowed to leave.
Oh, I'm not leaving. I ain't going nowhere.
Ever.
I'm not going anywhere.
That's funny.
I have way too much fun with this. Yeah.
See, it just
You'll
goes to show we actually are two people.
You'll understand when I say this, Lee, because you know part of the interaction. So I rented last week James Fox's The Program.
Oh yeah.
I thought it was very well shot. The unfortunate part about it, the two unfortunate parts about it was that I thought it was really out of date because the UFO story is moving so quickly. It was really out of date. And the other thing that I would say about it was that I don't think he got to the whistleblowers enough about it. But right at the beginning, near the beginning, he brings up the Wilson Davis documents.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
well,
you have no idea how much I hate the Wilson Davis documents. Not because of what's on the documents or themselves, because of what happened. And I don't want to talk ill of those who've passed.
Right.
But I struggle with that because that story, if it would have went as planned, would have totally blew us up.
Yeah, it would have. It would have. You're darn right. I mean, in the beginning, it was like we got the documents. We were told to hush up, right? By you know who.
Yeah.
We scoured them, and we were told to take those documents and go online and start searching and trying to find evidence of this stuff to see if it can be corroborated. Back when I was with the UFOI team, and we did, a lot of us searched and searched and searched for this stuff. Obviously, we came up with the names, a lot of the names, and corroborated those names and the positions that they had at the time. But there was still so much that we were unable to do that other researchers actually were able to find more information, and that's good. Because I was never a researcher into, things that have happened in the past. I don't really know where to look other than doing like a straight Google search, right? But I'm not one to do request for information or trying to, do the stuff that Black Box does, Black Box does, and some of those other people that they go in and they do a hard search, and I don't know how to do that stuff. So it's very much surface level. But it was interesting when it was happening. But it took me about 2 weeks and I was done with it. I didn't want anything more to do with it at all.
Yeah. That still pisses me off.
Yeah. We can't go back in time.
I was talking to Nicole Sackage about it, and I was just like, out of all the things that I had to see, the first James Fox movie that I actually purchased, that's the first thing I have to see. And I'm like, fuck.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If you'll notice, audience, if you've been here a while, you'll notice we have never ever done a show on Wilson Davis. Everybody has talked about it but us, and I refuse. I absolutely refuse. Still pisses me off.
There's a lot of people have done some really deep dives on it, and because of that, like Richard Dolan definitely went into it huge, many times, but he's beat it to death. There's no sense trying to pull him.
A document like that, you need to be working every day on it, like 8 to 10 hours a day.
Yeah.
So for those of you who may not know and think we're talking cryptic here, that story was supposed to break on Spaced Out Radio. And then the person who had the documents in confidence came out and told our audience that in 2-3 months, we're going to break this massive UFO story. And I sat on it. I sat on it quietly, played the game properly.
Mm-hmm.
And the person who had the notes panicked and immediately went on Jimmy Church and a couple of 2-bit podcasts that average about 6 listeners a show, and it blew them up.
Yep.
And when I questioned him about it before he went on the air, this person is no longer alive.
Mm-hmm.
When I questioned it, I have never been that angry in a long time, dude. And I literally screamed at him for about an hour. And you know what? To his credit, he took it. Because he knew he screwed up.
Yeah.
Okay. And he's like, well, Dave, we could do a show on it. I said, good. I said, cancel Jimmy. And this is no offense to Jimmy Church or these other 2-bits. I said, cancel them. He's like, I can't. I said, absolutely you can. Cancel them. He goes, I'm not going to do that. I've made a commitment. I said, well, so you're going to F me over again. Right?
Yep.
And I said to him, you will never, ever speak about this on SOR. This is a dead topic.
Yeah. That wasn't Black Box. That was Black Vault. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
But yeah. It's really unfortunate. It's really unfortunate. Well, you guys, I'm just going to tell you right now, if I have any breaking news or any fresh UFO videos, I will be breaking them on Dave Scott's show.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, you're done.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? There was here's a story the audience doesn't know. Our former UFO reporter, after he had left the show, he had videos from a gentleman about UFOs. And instead of coming on my show, he's scheduled to show the videos on a different show. And this guy was my inside source that I gave him. And so my friend called me up and he's like, what the hell is going on? And I said, I'm not doing I refuse to do your video. You could go on the other show. I said, I'm not telling you not to go on the other show. You can go on that other show and do it. I said, but I ain't doing it. Hey, little Terry Hall is here.
What?
The power of the mustache keeps him awake tonight.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
How's that finger doing?
Hello, Terry.
Yes. Terry Hall, I will tell all of you right now, is one of the best MFers on this planet. He really is. He is one of the best MFers on this planet.
Yep. He's a good dude.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Yeah, it was Mike Bothwell. So anyways, my friend then cancels on the other show. My source and friend cancels on the other show.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
That's insane.
I won that one. And he's
So
like, well, we can do a show afterwards about it. No, can't do it. You know? And here's another one for our audience that you guys don't even know. I got approached last week about interviewing Lou Elizondo.
there you go.
And I said no.
Oh,
He would only do
Why?
maybe an hour, I was told. Said nope. I said my interviews are 2 hours.
gotcha.
Mm.
Well, he's tired and worn out from doing all of the shows, the press and everything like that. And I said, I can appreciate that. I'm thankful for that. Okay. Not my fault. I said, after my audience and my show got screwed by his producers or by his PR people for the book, I said, I have no interest right now. Zero interest. I said, what are we going to talk about? Well, the drones. I don't want to talk about the drones. We're not talking about his book because I'm not advertising his book after getting screwed over. I won't give that publicist another dime of my money. Right?
Yeah, well, you hold yourself to a high standard, and I think everybody can appreciate that.
Well,
you've got
when
high
you-
morals,
It's not so much about high morals as it is about two things. Number one, I give a shit about my audience.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I really do. A lot of people will say, oh, Dave, you're just, and I've seen the comments. Okay. Dave, you're just being a whiner and a complainer because you didn't get first. And I've seen all that. That isn't it. Okay. When you screw me over, you screw my YouTube audience over. You screw our podcast audience over. You screw Element 115's audience. You screw Rob's audience. And you screw all of our radio stations.
Mhm.
So you'll go an hour with me, but a guy who has 682 people on his YouTube channel, you'll do 3 hours with him.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Not at all.
No.
Right? No, it doesn't. And if I got to be the bad guy, oh, you're just whining, complaining, because I know Dark Protocol, where are you? Because I know you're listening, even though you say you don't listen and you rip everything I say. And you love your hot moments. Okay. No, I really do give a shit about our audience. I do. And, and I'll be honest with you, I'd love to interview Lou Elizondo. I would.
Yeah.
But 10 years into this show, with the popularity our show has, I'm not bending. Peppa H, the reason why Elizondo says the same shit on every show is because he's not in front of journalists who understand this topic.
There you go.
That is the reason why nobody gets anything out of Elizondo. Go back to my interview. We got a short on it on our YouTube where I asked him about if he's ever seen an alien. Go listen to that. Nobody has ever asked him that question but me.
There you go.
Right? And I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying that because he does get asked the exact same questions. All it is a change of title. And because people in the podcast world do not have experience as a journalist, they ask all the same questions over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, they run down a list, basically.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I already know what my first question to him is. After your book, are you ready to come out as an experiencer?
There you go.
Nobody's asked him that.
It sounds to me, just from the things I've heard, that he very well may be. Very well may be.
So he's never said he was?
He's never said that he's an experiencer, but he kind of hinted in his book that he is an experiencer. Yes, he's a remote viewer. Yes, he's done some stuff. But if you read between the lines, and Lee, you're very good at it. Jackie, you're good at it. If you study him, what he said, and read between the lines, it'll tell you he's an experience.
Interesting. Just
Are
doesn't
those
want to come out and say that.
No. He circles the drain.
Lee, are those lava lamps?
These two sexy ass lava lamps, yes.
I'm so jealous right now. I love lava lamps.
I did too when I was a kid. I was like, man, and then I saw these on Amazon. I'm like, I gotta have those.
Those are nice lava lamps.
Those
He had like a little brain plopping up in there the other day.
Yeah, they almost remind me, Dave, I should have got green. Now thinking back, I should have got green because they almost look like alien vats where you would see like the, yeah. Jackie. I've never seen any, by the way, Jackie, just to make that clear. I haven't.
Checking my brain real fast.
Yeah, make sure it's still attached.
Still attached.
Yeah.
Make sure my brain's not in that lava lamp.
So, yeah, I would bring Lou on. But you know what? After 10 years, and it goes for everybody, it's not just Lou. After 10 years, I want some respect. And I'm not asking for respect. You don't respect our audience and respect what we've accomplished as a show. Oh, well.
Yeah. Well, that's too bad too. And I know he's looking for numbers. He's looking for people to buy his book. And that's really sad too. If you've experienced something, if you know about something, don't you just want to share that with people? Why do you think that you need to make money off something like that? It for me, it doesn't make sense for me. I don't care. I don't give a rat's butt about money. What I care about is letting people know that there's other people out here that have had these experiences and that understand what they have that they're going through. That's for me. That's more about what means. That's what means a lot to me.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's totally incredible.
It's interesting being in this community, and most of us are in this community because of our experiences or the interest of it. And you would think that if he really did have a real experience of some kind, that would be something that he would be willing to share. If you're a part of this community, I mean, that's pretty much what we all do, right? That's the reason we all talk to each other, is we're sharing our experiences.
Oh, yeah.
It's funny that he doesn't do that.
I agree with you big time.
Yep.
I totally agree with you. And that's what also makes it exciting too and magical, is being able to have those interactions with people. Like the nuts and bolts crew, Lee, are going to have a hell of a time bringing new information when AI really, in the next year, when AI really, really takes off. Like, we're seeing some incredible AI now. What's it going to be like in the next year or two?
Yeah.
We're not going to be able to trust any video out there.
Nope. I mean, the thing is though, that flesh and blood people like you and myself and Jackie and other people that do a podcast, I think they're always going to outdo AI. There's a more personal connection that we have with people than the AI shows that I've seen on YouTube. They just don't have this personal connection. I mean, I genuinely love the people that are on here talking to us. I see them every week. Even during the day when I watch your show, I see the same people popping up over and over and over again. And I really feel like I have a connection with those people. AI is not going to have that personal connection.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, even looking at UFO videos, we're not gonna be able to tell the difference.
I mean, that's already the case. It's really, really super difficult. And it's going to get worse. And there might be a lot of those out there right now, along with everything that's happened, what's been going on. So many of those videos may be AI. We just don't know.
And this goes back to exactly what I said earlier. It's going to be all about our personal experiences at that point, because as amazing as AI is, it's like watching a movie. You're not going to know what's real, what's not real, and what can you trust? You're not going to know.
Right.
Nothing's going to look real or feel real anymore once AI is full blown out there. And it already is, basically. I mean, you can create anything with AI now.
Yeah.
A year from now, it's going to be bigger.
Much worse. Mm-hmm.
Much, much worse. So us talking about our personal experiences and having those personal experiences is what's going to be what we thrive off of, is sharing those with each other. Because outside of that, we're all going to look at it now like, okay, is that real? Is that AI? Like, do I really believe that? So sadly, it's out of control already, but it's going to get worse, like you said.
Yep. Yeah.
It'll be interesting.
It will be. I mean, AI is going to be making movies, full-blown movies soon, very soon, I imagine. Yeah. It's already making music. It can already, listen to somebody's voice for 2 seconds, 3 seconds, and it can copy your voice, your likeness, just about everything, your mannerisms. It's a slippery slope, I think, but I do believe we'll win out.
I think the story of the experiencer is going to be way more important now.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Rexamillions, how you doing? How you doing? It's all good.
Yeah. I bring this up to Lee all the time.
Hold on a second here. Terry Hall is making chocolate chip cookies right now.
Oh, wow.
Yum.
What a prick move right now. Like, I would die for some homemade chocolate chip cookies right now. That's a real prick move there, Terry. Mm-hmm.
Terry.
Mm-hmm.
Terry.
Mm-hmm.
He's got well, he's a great guy anyway, but now he's making chocolate chip cookies. I'm gonna have to send him my address so that I can get some. Yeah.
They'll be crumbled by the time they get there.
He's not far. He's just down south.
Drive him over.
Probably make it to his place in about 2.5 hours.
Maybe if you drive over there, you can have milk and cookies with them in a little while.
All I know is that I would like to I'd like to have some fresh chocolate chip cookies right out of the oven to I thought that was submitted. 1 second here.
Happy New Year. Absolutely. Nope. There is no better show than SOR. You're absolutely correct.
What are you guys hoping that will happen? Now, I know one major thing we're all hoping for 2025, but what's something you guys can share with everybody on here that you're hoping in 2025?
Everybody's going to say disclosure.
I refuse to believe in disclosure. I'm going to be the jerk on that one.
I don't think it's going to come from our government.
What the
In no way, shape, or form.
No, it's not coming from the government.
Nah. Look who else just popped up.
Who is it?
Rob G in the house.
Sweet Robbie G right there.
Hello,
Sweet
hello.
Robbie G.
We were talking about your goatee on our show tonight. How amazing it is.
Yeah, and we're all planning on being, all of us and Rob G and a bunch of people, a bunch of us are going to be in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm going to be there.
We're going to have a blast.
I'm definitely going to be there.
I'm going to be there.
I'm going to be there.
Apparently,
I'm
Anae's
going to be
going to
there.
be
You know,
there.
Anae's going to be there.
She's nothing but trouble, that one.
She's my travel buddy.
Uh-huh.
We go
I just
everywhere
got
together.
kicked down to the bottom of the list there.
Totem pole just went.
Ah.
There's
No,
me. You never know with you. You never know who you might travel with.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh.
Maybe Toby.
Well, this is true. I don't know. You're correct.
You don't know. You don't know. All I know is we're going to have an amazing time in Vegas. I know that for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm looking forward
It's
to
going to
it.
be amazing.
Mhm.
And we're going to all break into song.
Everybody's going to act like they're munchkins and sing, "Follow the Yellow Brick Road."
Follow the yellow road. Follow, 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 follow the yellow brick road.
Road. Yep.
Right?
I feel like I'm like one of those little girls in there with the flowers.
Yeah. There you go.
I love that movie. I'm not going to lie.
I don't think my kids have ever seen it.
That's a shame.
I've tried. I've asked them so many times, let's watch it. Nah. My kids aren't really TV people. They don't really like TV or movies. And
Oh, except for one movie that keeps getting played at your house on a weekly basis.
Cruella.
Yeah.
Or Coraline.
Coraline.
Yeah. Those are
That
probably
was
like
cool.
back and forth, back and forth. My daughter, she's obsessed with a movie called Coraline. It's kind of a creepy little movie. I don't like it at
Kind of like
all.
hanging out with Lee. Creepy. Creepy Lee. Creepy Lee.
Me? No.
Hi, I'm Creepy Lee.
I'm not creepy.
Lee's creepy.
No. Mr. Green Weenie back there is creepy.
Oh, I'm frightened of that green weenie. Oh
Yep.
my God.
Get your Lee extra small shirt on the Spaced Out Radio website right now.
There you go.
Yeah.
Follow the gold.
All our zip ups are sold out.
Ooh.
Really?
Yeah. Well,
Got a Christmas special?
I'm having to delete all of the ones that are. Yeah, I gotta do hoodies and stuff up. I'm gonna do
You need
that
one
this
that just says, hello, Jackie.
Play with some stuff here.
Hello, Jackie. Yeah, that would be good too.
Okay. Hello.
Yeah.
I love
I'm
that.
guessing it's going to be nice in May. Hopefully it won't be too hot when we're there.
We'll be inside.
May's not that bad.
We'll be
We
inside.
might go out.
Go out
It
where?
doesn't bother me though. I mean, like I like the heat as long as it's not, in the middle of the day and it's like 130, I'm fine. I think it only gets like that in the middle of the summer over there, like July, August,
Yeah, that gets stupid.
and then it's harsh. I think May's a good month over there.
I was actually thinking that I might go on Wednesday, like fly in on Wednesday.
I think Merle
What
is
day?
starting off in Reno. Him and Ane were planning on
Oh yeah.
investigating back up at Virginia City before heading back down to Vegas.
There you go.
Yeah, she was trying to get me to go up there, but I can't do both back to back. I gotta work.
Yes, we're still live there. Boy interrupted. Yes, we are still live.
Hello,
Is the
boy
first
interrupted.
one a Thursday? I'm gonna look that up.
Oh, here we go, playing this fucking game again.
You know what's funny? My phone's been at 1% for like an hour and it still hasn't died. I'm tripping out. Now watch it die as I'm looking it up.
Right.
May?
Mhm.
I swear to God, this whole
Okay, so
downloading
May
thing
1st.
is gonna be
Oh,
the-
May 1st is a Thursday.
Yeah.
I'll have to take that day off. I work Wednesdays and Thursdays.
Want to say a big thank you to WeTransfer, who's eliminated their free shipping service, where that's how we ship our shows to the radio stations. And now they're only allowing 10 free a month. So now I got to pay $35 American monthly for WeTransfer.
What?
Yep. Starting January 2nd.
Welcome to America.
Was there another service?
Well, I could use Dropbox, but Dropbox sucks compared to the.
Yeah. Dropbox isn't cheap either.
No, Dropbox is really expensive.
I think I was paying over $500 a year for
Yeah, it's
my
crazy.
Dropbox. Yeah, I know it.
I think it's like 700 now or more.
Forget it. That's why I didn't renew.
Yep. Cost of doing business.
Yeah, crazy.
Cost of doing business. That's the way it goes.
Love v love says Jax. She wants to be next door
Oh
to you.
yeah, girl, you got to come hang out with us. That would be fun. We'll have a blast.
Mm-hmm. Terry Hall showing off his cookie baking skills. Look at him trying to be all innocent in the chat room right now. Oh, I'm just, putting some sugar in my tea. Oh yeah. Yeah. Terry Hall.
I
Chocolate
can't
chip
stand
cookie.
tea.
Oh, I love tea.
Oof.
I can't stand coffee.
Now I like mixed coffee if it's like all the sugary and delicious goody stuff in it, but straight up black coffee, ugh.
Mm.
And tea tastes like dirt.
Uh-oh.
It does. It just tastes like you just picked up some dirt and threw it in some water.
Lex
It's
Dizza
awful.
missed Lex Dizza missed the
Lex
trivia.
Diaz.
Missed the trivia and
Oh,
is
we had a
upset.
good time and Dave popped in and we had a better time.
Yeah, we had a fantastic time.
That was a good show. And we love the fact that nobody could Google it. So
That's
we knew there
right.
were no cheaters. You had to know.
Mhm.
It was fun. And if anybody is on here that was on there, we had a blast with you guys.
It was a great time.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, we're going to be starting Terry's cookie tips on Spaced Out Radio.
Come on, Terry. Tell us how you made those cookies.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he's being a jerk about it. I'm watching him. watching him intently right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We will be doing another trivia night here in a couple of weeks, so we'll be good.
Yeah. People are loving the trivia, so we're going to keep that going every month. Mike was just asking if either one of us had seen where to go. Come across a nesting area. I personally have, yes. I have multiple times.
Yeah, that would be in her department. I haven't seen a nest yet.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, when you do, it is a feeling of, oh, is it nearby? Because it looks like it just left. Like you feel like it literally just got up and walked away, and it's probably watching you. Because most of them look real fresh.
Yeah.
And big. Like you could literally lay in it and there's still a huge amount of room. But I've actually come across multiple. I've seen them where there'll be like maybe 2 or 3. I've seen one. And then I've seen groups of them where there's like a family. Like there'll be like 6 of them. And I've also seen them in 2 different locations nearer. So it looks like 2 families were there. And that's a trip when you find those, because you think, wow, that's a lot.
And I got the feeling if I had crossed that little stream and walked into the brush that was over there where we were, I would have found some nests.
I think you probably would have found them, because I felt like personally that they were sitting there watching us in that location almost the whole time. I felt very much like they were sitting there. Even in the night, I could hear them on that side of us.
Yeah, yeah.
It was an interesting area for sure. I really hope that you can go check out that area one day, Dave. It is an absolute interesting. The entire area is interesting. It's just the way it's put together is it's almost like created so perfectly. Just the water, the hiding areas, just everything about it was just fascinating, of like so many places they could hide and you wouldn't see anything.
Agreed. On that note, some of us do have to work in the morning. So I'm going to say good night to all of you, Lee and Jackie.
Good night.
We will talk to you on Sunday night.
Yep, on Monday.
Sunday.
What?
Sunday,
what
yes,
night?
Sunday.
Sunday. Sunday.
Well,
Sunday.
if I don't see any of you guys until next week, Happy New Year.
Yeah, I'm sure Terry Hall will have eaten all the chocolate chip cookies by then.
He's the cookie monster.
Yeah, he'll eat all them chocolate chip cookies. He don't care. He'll eat them cookies.
He's just over there rubbing it in.
I'm sure.
Thank you guys, and thank you to Bigfoot Rob, Big Tex, Donnie Cho, Richard, Deborah Rooney, Awesome Cat Chaser, and T2E for the wonderful super chats. Robbie G will be, is he back this weekend, or is he? Yeah, Robbie G is back this weekend. And then, of course, we'll be taking New Year's Eve and January 1st off. There will be archive shows for that. But I'll be back on Monday with Lon Strickler. So make sure you check it on out. We love to have fun with you guys. And we will talk to you guys very, very soon. Do us a favor. Tell your friends about us. Force them. Just force them to hit subscribe and ring that bell. It never hurts to force people.
There you go. Perfect.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Stay healthy, my friend.
You too.
If you need bail money, give me a call.
Always, Dad. Take care.
You too.